Good job, Cassandra. Miss Helenes, our dance coach, praised me after I finished my routine for my upcoming ballet competition. She clapped her hands and smiled widely at me. That was a good routine, she beamed as she walked to me. I smiled, contented that I impressed my coach with the routine I choreographed. I was the only one without a choreographer because I couldn't afford one. I am an orphan. My mom died because of cervical cancer while my father died followed soon because he was depressed. I grew up in an orphanage and was set to live free when I turned 18. Since then, I worked double jobs to afford a small room and my everyday expenses until I came across the G. Helenes Dance Studio. There was a free sign up and everyone is encouraged to join, so I tried my chance. And now, I am studying dance here under the famous Georgina Helenes. It was only 3 months and you're already this good, Miss Helenes told me. I wonder if you still have a lot under your sleeve because I can see a lot of potential. I smiled widely, overwhelmed at her words. I started later than the others, so I am a bit behind when it comes to skills and preparations. So to her, here tell me that she can see potential in me makes me happy and proud of myself. Continue your routine and put some twist in the middle and the end. The judges love that. You may go home today and just come back tomorrow. You need to rest your body so it wouldn't give up on you, she told me before she proceeded with another ballerina. I nodded and went on to fix my things when someone came to me. Hi! A lady with a long hair and blue eyes was in front of me. I smiled weakly. Hello, I greeted back. I'm Marie Howell, she told me as she reached her hand out. You're new here, right? Because I am and I don't know anyone here yet, she added. I smiled and accepted her hand for a quick handshake. Cassandra Collins, I told her. And yes, I am relatively new here as well. I only started 3 months ago. She sighed. I started last week but I didn't get to see you. I have been watching your routine since this morning. Who choreographed that? She asked. I shook my head. Just me, I replied. Her eyes widened. Just you? She asked in shock. You're brilliant. I smiled shyly. Thank you, I replied. I couldn't afford a choreographer, I explained. She sighed. Me too. But I wish I am half as good as you. Right now, I am working double jobs just to afford one. Miss Helenes helps in some routine but I think I will need an extra choreographer, she sighed. I looked at her and saw her pouting until she let out a huge smile. Anyway, we can hang out sometime after practices, she told me. I smiled and nodded. Sure, as long as I don't have work, I replied. She nodded enthusiastically. Good, can I get your number? She asked me. I took my phone out from my bag and handed it to her. I want your number too, I told her. She giggled and gave me her phone while she received mine. We exchanged numbers and our friendship seemed to have progressed from there. She was in full support when I won my first competition. She treated me for dinner after and for the first time in a long time. I felt like I am not alone, that I have someone in this world even though I lost my parents a long time ago. I found a friend, a best friend even. Are you ready for your biggest competition? Marie asked me and I nodded. We're at the backstage of the biggest ballet competition of this year. Miss Helenes encouraged me to join this after watching me perform one of my most complicated routines in front of everyone in dance class. She told me she could see me turning into a big star and this could be the start of my ballerina journey. I am nervous though, I said as I let out a deep breath. Marie smiled. It's normal to be nervous, she said as she sat beside me and held my cold hands. But don't your nervousness take over in your performance, okay? We'll be supporting you all out. She pumped her fist and wrinkled her nose with an encouraging smile. Thank you, I told her quietly, slightly relieved with the anxiety I am feeling. She nodded enthusiastically. Just enjoy, Kes. I know you work hard for this, so claim it. She told me, and that was the only thing I needed to hear before I could go on up there and show them what I've got. Besides, Ivan Mendez is here to judge. Can you believe it? He's here and we're all dying because of how handsome he is. I frowned. Who's that? I asked. Marie rolled her eyes at me. A rising actor. He's the brother of Jennifer Aniston in her new drama series. Are you not watching that? I shook my head. I don't have a TV. She sighed. Well, when you win, you should buy one. Jen's new show is lit. She beamed at me. I nodded, even though I don't think it is necessary to have one. I am always out. I only come home to sleep. I don't have the luxury to watch TV or even videos on my phone. It was not long until the show started. I am the fourth to perform, that's why we were called to come to the side of the stage earlier than the others. I can see the judges from where I was standing. I know most of them because I have joined different competitions before, so I'm kind of used to their scrutinizing stare. But there was a man wearing a navy blue tuxedo and a white inner v-neck shirt. His hair is slightly disheveled as he watched with serious eyes. His jaw is very prominent and his eyebrows are thick. His lips are red like he's wearing lipstick, but I guess it's only the natural color. I cannot be mistaken. This is Ivan Mendez, as what Marie said. My heart thumped against my chest when my name was called to perform. I smiled widely to mask the nervousness creeping in my whole system. I never felt this nervous before, but as Evan's eyes went to me, I seemed to have lost all the confidence in me. But I cannot let them see that. I need to win this. You can do this, Cassandra, I whispered to myself as I went on my starting pose. I mentally repeated that until I heard the music of my piece play. I can hear Marie's voice cheering me from the audience as I willed myself to focus on my routine despite the intense stare of Mr. Mendez from the judge's seat. It was an agonizing time performing, but when I heard cheers from the audience, I felt more confident. It even felt better when the judges complimented me after knowing that it was me who choreographed the routine I just showed. And the winner for Miss Prima Ballerina for this year is... The host trailed to give all of us more thrill. All of the contestants are lined up on the stage, holding hands and praying for our names to be called next. Cassandra Phoebe Collins from Georgina Helene's dance studio. My eyes widened as I heard cheers and applause from the audience. My co-competitors all went to me and hugged me to congratulate me while I was still in awe of what happened. I won? Did I really win? Congratulations, Mrs. Powers. One of the judges came to me and hugged me before handing the trophy. Mr. Levin smiled widely at me before handing me the cash prize and some of the giveaways from the sponsors. "Congratulations, Miss Collins." I smiled and thanked the both of them before I saw Ivan Mendez walking towards me with a sash on his hand. I smiled nervously as he put the sash on me. "Congratulations," he said in a low baritone and with less enthusiasm than the other two judges, but my heart seemed to have liked it more. "Thank you, sir," I stammered. "Just call me Ivan," he said before we posed for a picture. Ivan's hand was on my waist and I couldn't help but blush. It stayed there the whole time we're photographed, and I almost sighed in disappointment when he removed it. Mr. Levin and Mrs. Powers proceeded to greet the other contenders, but Ivan stayed beside me. He turned to me. "Are you celebrating after this?" he asked. I nodded. "Yes, see, Ivan," I smiled awkwardly. "Damn, can the earth just eat me alive?" He smiled. "I'll just text you then," he said. My eyes widened. "What?" He shrugged. "I got your number from the form. I hope that's okay with you," he told me as he rubbed the back of his neck. My lips parted. Okay?" I bit my lower lip and tried to gather all the sanity that's left inside me. His lips suddenly rose into a smile. "Good. Maybe we can have dinner some other time," he asked me, and I nodded, not knowing what to actually say. Can I turn him down?" He seemed friendly. "Oh, okay." He smiled widely. "Okay. Nice meeting you, Cassandra," he told me in a soft and gentle voice. I smiled and nodded. "Nice to meet you too," I told him before we went separate ways. "You're going out?" Marie asked me when I was in the middle of collecting my things in the locker. I looked at her and nodded. "Yup," I replied. "Evan again?" she asked in a teasing tone. I frowned at her. Evan and I went out 3 times, and all those times he took me to 3 different fine dining restaurants. Ones I have never tried before. She giggled. "You seem to be having fun with him," she commented. I sighed. "Is it a bad thing?" I asked. "To be honest, I have never been in a relationship before. I grew up in an orphanage where the boys and girls live in 2 different buildings. So basically, women are all I have ever known in my whole life. And Ivan, he's new to me. Everything is new to me." Marie rolled her eyes. She knew my history and my background. I'm sure she remembers that I am new to this. "Am I dating him?" I asked her. She scoffed at me and gave me a disgusted look. "Oh dear, you don't even know you're dating him?" I pouted. "I don't know how these things work, Marie. I haven't been in this position ever in my life. I have never gone out with a man before," I said shyly. "Marie has a lot of experiences with men. It's not a secret because she's been telling me about all of them. She's adventurous, and she's knowledgeable with men and dating." She took a deep breath. "The moment he asks you out on a dinner, it's already a date," she told me. I looked at her, confused. "Really?" She nodded. "It's called a dinner date, Kes. Of course, it is a date," she explained. But we're just friends," I said in broken words. Marie sighed and gave me a tired look. She seemed to be on the edge with explaining these things to me. "Well, it all starts with being friends, dear. So don't worry. You're on the right track," she told me, and then went on to tell me more things about men and dating. I needed her words because I don't want to look neophyte in front of Evan. I have an idea that he's an expert on this, so I don't want him to be disappointed when he knew that this is my first time. My phone beeped and it was Evan, telling me that he's already waiting in the parking lot. Marie wrinkled her brows and gave me a meaningful smile. "Go and do what I told you to do," she told me, and I nodded. "Thank you, Marie," I told her. "See you tomorrow." She smiled widely at me and nodded. "See you. Enjoy." Ivan was smiling widely at me as he leaned on his car with his arms crossed against his chest. He's wearing a simple white tee, a pair of black shorts and topsiders. I smiled because he looked good. "Hi," I awkwardly greeted him. He smiled and unrevealed his hands on his chest. He stood straight and nodded at me. "Hello," he replied in a low baritone. "Are you ready?" he asked. I nodded. "Yes." Last night, he told that he'll bring me to his favorite restaurant. He's been out of the country for weeks because of his shoots, and now that he just came back, he wants to show me his favorite restaurant. He assisted me to his car before we drove to where his favorite restaurant is. He's been telling me why it was his favorite, and somehow I grow excited because I feel like I am entering his world for real. I feel like he's opening his doors for me. We drove for almost an hour until we reached a Chinese restaurant. He led me inside as we were greeted by the receptionist, who also showed us to a vacant table. She gave us the menu and told us to just call her when we're ready to order. I gulped. This is my first time eating in a Chinese restaurant. I looked at Ivan, who so relaxed as he read through the menu. He seemed comfortable here, so the food must be nice. In the end, I let him order for us because I don't know what food is good. "Did you practice?" he asked me as we were waiting for our orders. I smiled and nodded. "We have another competition coming up. It's in New York next month," I started. "Miss Helenes wants us our performances to be as polished as possible because the winner will get a contract for an international ballerina tour." Eva nodded, seemingly impressed. "Wow, I'm sure your own choreography will get you to the top," he said, seemingly sure of what he just said. I smiled shyly. I actually like that he believes in me more than I actually believe in myself. It makes me feel like I wouldn't do anything wrong while he's believing in me. "When is the competition?" "Maybe I can accompany you," he said. My lips parted. "It's still next month. You don't have to. But I want to watch you impress all the judges." He smiled and reached for my hand over the table. I stilled with eye contact. His thumb carries the back of my hand, and I couldn't help but feel the butterflies in my stomach. Ivan's eyes became more serious. His sharp jawline moved like he just gritted his teeth. "Cassandra, I like you. I like you so much. I wanna be your boyfriend." My eyes widened and my jaw literally dropped with what he just said. He wants to be my boyfriend, but we only dated for a few times. He let out a deep breath. "Look, I know it's too sudden, but I don't want to spend more time in the agony of waiting. I want you and you're here now. Please be my girlfriend," he said in a pleading tone. I bit my lip. Am I ready for this? "Ivan," I called him and he smiled at me. He sighed. "It's okay if you don't want to be mine now." "Yes." I cut him off. He looked at me with narrowed eyes. "Yes?" A huge smile slowly formed in the corner of my lips. I nodded. "Yes, Yes, he shouted and even pumped his fist in the air. Yes, he yelled even louder, making other people look at us in confusion. Ivan stood up and leaned in front of me, capturing my lips with his "Thank you, thank you, Cassandra," he whispered after the kiss. I swallowed. My heart is beating really fast because of our sudden kiss. I didn't expect that, but then he leaned again and gave me a deeper kiss, making me lose my senses. "I love you," he whispered. I smiled and nodded. "I love you too." Months quickly passed by. Ivan and I were happy together. He just launched his first movie and I was there for him. However, he couldn't make me his date for the premiere night because he's supposed to escort his female lead. But nonetheless, I am happy and very excited for him. His career is starting to go the way he wants it to, and so is mine. I won 3 ballet competitions and that made me buy a bigger apartment for me. I also quit my side jobs because I want to focus on ballet. Ivan was supportive of my ballet journey as well. He even flew from Los Angeles to New York just to watch me. "Hey," Marie called me when she saw me checking my phone. "We're on a break, so I wanted to text Ivan." "Hi," I replied. "What's up?" Marie giggled. "Cheska is talking about her new boy toy." She beamed. "I think this one's hot." I nodded, not really interested. "This." Marie rolled her eyes. "I know you have your hot and famous Evan Mendez. You don't have to rub it in my face." I laughed and shook my head. "You're gonna find your own hot man," I assured her. She sighed dreamily. "I hope that man breaks up with Melissa and chooses me." I looked at her. "Have you seen him?" I asked. She nodded enthusiastically. "Miller Compton, CEO of the Compton Banks. He's one of the hottest bachelors in Chicago together with his cousins," she said in a very animated way. I shrugged and then a message from Ivan came in. "Ivan, babe, I'm in an emergency shoot. I can't fetch you today. Call me once you're safe home." I sighed and just typed "okay" and "take care." I let it go because it is needed for his work. He's been busy this past a few days, but I can see that he's happy because of what's happening in his career. He's been waiting for a big break and now that he got it, I don't want to be the one who keeps him from reaching his dreams. "Oh, looks like boyfriend is not here today," Marie said and smiled meaningfully. "Wanna go out and hang?" I sighed and shook my head. "I need to go home after this. I have to do the laundry." She frowned at me. "Cassandra, you're not rat poor now. You can pay for the dry cleaning services on the ground floor of your apartment building. Come on." I rolled my eyes and just nodded. "Okay, fine." Marie smiled and pumped her fist. "Yes," she beamed. "Cheska is bringing her luxury boy tonight, so we'll meet him." We opted to go to Berkshire because we didn't want to go to somewhere crowded and noisy. Berkshire was quieter than the rest of the bars, so we decided to just stay there while we relax after a tiring day in the studio. Lyndon and Marie were bickering on the table while Chiska was busy with her phone. Maybe she's texting someone. Maybe her new boy toy, as what Marie referred to him. Cheska isn't really the most demure, but she's kinder than the others. To be honest, she and Marie were one of the best examples that not all the women who loves play and pleasure are heartless and not friendly. Although I'm not really close to Cheska, I think she's kind enough to be close to Marie. "Is he coming?" Marie asked Cheska with a teasing tone. Cheska rolled her eyes. "He's on his way." I nodded and Marie just smirked. Lyndon nudged me. Hey, you want some drink? He asked me with a smile. I nodded. Lyndon is one of the few boys in the dance studio. He's not into ballet, so he's on another floor, learning hip-hop and modern dances. He's close to Marie and I think they have something. Marie wouldn't tell me though. Here, he gave me a glass of blue drink that's non-alcoholic. I smiled and nodded. Thanks. I took a sip before hearing Cheska call a familiar name. Miller! She beamed at the entrance before running towards a man wearing a black sweatshirt and a pair of faded jeans. I narrowed my eyes at the man who kissed Cheska on the lips. He seemed familiar. I feel like I have seen him somewhere. My eyes widened when I realized where I saw him. He's that man. He's the man in that Chinese restaurant who dumped a girl. Chiska pulled him towards our table and I could hear Marie giggled softly beside me. The man, Miller, narrowed his eyes at me when he saw me. I can see how his jaw clenched as he looked away. Hey guys, this is Miller, my boyfriend, Chiska introduced. I pursed my lips in a thin line. I just nodded and gulped the whole drink while Cheska let Miller sit in between us. I immediately moved away. I could only remember what this man did to the lady he was with. From the looks of it, I know that he has no intentions on being serious with a girl. He's handsome, tall, and his body is something all the girls would dream about. I know because every woman wants my boyfriend because he is all that. I'm just thankful that he's not like Miller, who's a playboy. Cheska started opening a conversation where Miller could join in. Marie and Chiska were the only talkative ones though. Marie also tried to hold a conversation with Miller but he seemed uninterested. Rude, I thought. I stood up and excused myself to go to the comfort room. The atmosphere is airy. Lyndon and I were just focused on our drinks because Miller's presence seemed to be overpowering. Well, he's the CEO of a huge chain of banks. He's definitely more intense than any other boys Cheska dated. I washed my hands and started to walk out of the restroom when I saw Miller, who's about to enter the men's restroom. He stopped when he saw me and smirked. I narrowed my eyes at him and pouted. What does he want? Hi, he said in a playful tone. I pursed my lips in a thin line and willed myself to not slap him now. I hate his air. I hate his face. Damn it. I just met him and I already hate him. He chuckled lowly when he noticed that I wasn't responding to him. I'm Miller. What's your name? He asked. I furrowed my brows. Look, I don't like you for Cheska. He's only going to hurt her like what I saw him to the girl in the restaurant. He cocked his head to the side and raised his brow. Really? I clenched my fist. Yes, you're a playboy. I saw what you did to that woman in the restaurant and I don't want you doing that to Cheska too, I said in a gritted teeth. He looked at me with a smile forming on his lips. Baby, you don't even know me. It's unfair to judge me just because you saw me end a relationship. My eyes widened. Did he just call me? Fuck, what an asshole. He smirked as he stepped closer to me. I stepped away with every advance he took until my back was on the cold wall. His eyes bored into mine as he trapped me in between his hands. My heart raced fast as I felt him leaning closer to me. I have a boyfriend, I spat. He chuckled. I know. Do you think I care? He whispered in a husky voice that sent tingles down my spine. My throat ran dry and my head seemed to be in a haywire. Damn, I should have gone home and done my laundry. Baby, don't worry. I'm going to break up with your friend tonight. His voice was so soft but it had so much impact in me. I don't need to play now. I have found who I want, Cassandra. He finished. My eyes widened as I saw him smiling at me. How did he know my name? He broke up with me. Chiska bawled the next day. Marie sighed while my throat went dry. She's talking about Miller, right? He said it was all a game for him. Chiska added and blew on the napkin. Pain and anger are evident in her voice. Marie gave her another box of Kleenex. But you seemed happy last night. She stated that only added salt on her wounded heart. Cheska cried even louder. I know, but he went cold on me the moment he came back from the comfort room. She exasperated in frustration. I did all positions for him. Damn it. My eyes widened, scandalized by her sudden and unsocialized revelation. Was that necessary for her to say? Too much information. He said I gave him the best blowjobs but he still left me. Fuck him. She ranted and I could only cringe when I imagine it. Why is she giving me lewd images in my head? I didn't want any of that. My phone suddenly beeped and I sighed in relief. Now, I have to focus on something else. Unregistered number. Good morning, Miller. I narrowed my eyes on the message and read it at least 7 times more until it finally sank into me. Me. Where did you get my number? First, he knew my name even without me telling him. I don't even recall Cheska telling him who I was, so how did he know that? And besides, he asked me that when he bumped into me in the hallway of the comfort rooms. And it's impossible for him to read my mind. So how? He replied fast, Miller. I have ways, baby. Have you eaten? I inhaled a sharp breath before pressing my lips together and narrowing my eyes on his message. Me, I'm not your baby. Why am I even replying to this? He's hopeless and a certified ashul. He just dumped Cheska and now he's making his move on me. Only real ashuls do that, Miller. You will be, soon. I frowned at his message. Me, I have a boyfriend. It hasn't even took a minute when he replied, Miller, yeah, I know. I took a deep breath and furiously typed, me. So back off and stop texting me. Cheska is crying here because you dumped her. What an ashul move from you. My chest rose and I breathed heavily as I silently prayed he'd stop texting me so I wouldn't be bugged by my conscience anymore. Cheska is just a few feet from me, mobbing because his boyfriend dumped her. And now, her boyfriend is moving on to me. Ashul, Miller, I'd rather hurt her now than hurt her in the future. Honesty always comes first for me. I frowned at his message when another text came in. Miller, and besides, I've already decided. I want you and I'll get you. I gulped. He's hopeless. Me. What part in I have a boyfriend? Don't you understand? I bit my lip tightly as I waited for his reply. Miller, he's not the one for you. I rolled my eyes. What is he? A fortune teller? Me. Whatever. Miller, I'm the one for you, baby. Remember that. I sighed and decided to ignore his text. The more I entertained him, the more I gave him the power over me. And I don't want that to happen, so I need to stop now. I deleted the thread and blocked his number on my phone. There, done. Marie nudged me. Is there a problem? She asked. I smiled immediately and shook my head. What? None. I'm good. She looked at me for a few moments before Cheska cried again. She looked her way and continued to comfort her by offering her the box of Kleenex. That man's an ashul. You shouldn't cry for him because he doesn't deserve it. I wanted to tell Cheska that, but I doubt any word could pacify the pain she's feeling right now. And besides, I don't know Miller enough. I wouldn't know he's an ashul just by seeing him. I am so envious. I wish I have a man like Ivan, Cheska exclaimed. He's handsome, kind, caring, loving, generous, and all the positive traits I could think of in a guy. He's all that. I want someone like that too. Marie looked at me and shook her head. Cheska is in pain, that's why she's saying that. And besides, it's impossible for her to look for another Ivan because that man is already mine and I have no plans on giving him away to someone else, not for anyone. He's stupid for letting you go even after giving him the blowjob of his life. Marie beamed, supporting Cheska. I pursed my lips in a thin line. I haven't tried any of that and I don't think I can do any of that. I have never been sensitized to that kind of topic. He's stupid, an ashul, Marty said, adding fuel to Cheska's fire. I sighed and shook my head. Cheska nodded vehemently. He thinks he could find someone better? Huh, I'll show him that no one is better than me. No one, she said in gritted teeth as she stood up and stormed out of the dance hall. I looked at Marie, alarmed. Where is she going? I asked, worried. Marie smirked and wiggled her brows. She's going to make him pay, she replied, but that only made me worry about Cheska more. How was your day? Ivan asked me when he fetched me. It has been a week since I saw him because he's busy with his new movie. He's being paired with a beautiful actress and everyone is already expecting for this movie to be a hit with their fresh love team. I smiled and hugged him. Good, but I missed you, I said. Ivan leaned in and kissed me. Wanna go for coffee? He asked me as he slung his arm around my shoulder. I beamed at him and nodded. He chuckled and led me towards his car. He opened the door for me before running to the driver's side. We drove to the cafe harmoniously. He was narrating how his week went, and even though I already know about that because he calls me whenever he's got time, I appreciate him telling me this in person. He was telling me about the actress he is working with as a love team and somehow I feel better and more comfortable. You're going with me in the premiere night, right? He asked me with a huge smile on his face. I looked at him, confused. Are you sure? I mean, this is a potential marketable love team. I have seen Lauren. She looked fabulous and I personally think that you're well matched with her. As much as I want to be there for him, I want the best for his career. For months that we've been together, I have seen how passionate he is with acting and I respect him for that. He deserves that. He deserves the best for his career, especially now that he is slowly getting known. I don't want to ruin that for him. When the traffic light turned red, he stopped and turned to me. Are you sure? He asked in a concerned tone. I smiled widely and nodded. Of course, I replied enthusiastically. If you have to be with Lauren for the premiere and for better promotion of your movie, it's all fine with me. His eyes softened and smiled back at me. Damn, what do I even do without you? He asked me that only made me smile wider. I reached for his hand and nodded affirmatively. I gave it a light squeeze before smiling widely. I will never leave, I uttered. He smiled genuinely and kissed my knuckles. Me too. The drive to the cafe was silent but comfortable. For all the months that we're together, I feel like now is the moment I love the most. Even more than the time he told me he loves. Even more than the time I told him I love him back. Because now, I know that I will never wish for another man in my life. He's everything any girl could wish for. He's everything I could ever hope for. We went inside the cafe, hand in hand, and ordered our favorite coffee. He also got us three different slices of the cakes that I love. We chose the table near the fountain and we busied ourselves with talks about our usual days until I noticed a familiar image of a man coming inside the cafe. He's wearing a formal gray suit and navy blue tie while holding an attaché case. Behind him is another man in suit as well who seemed to open the door for him. He's probably his secretary. He flawlessly sashayed inside the cafe to a table near us. It was a table of men in suits with laptops on the table. What is this? Are they having a meeting today? Here? My eyes widened because I saw him staring at me with a playful smirk on his face. I gulped hard and looked away. What is that Ashul doing here? Why is he holding a meeting here? Of all places? Babe, are you okay? Ivan asked me, looking so concerned. I looked at him and nodded. Yeah, I'm good, I said, trying to calm myself, shaken because of Miller's intense stare. Ivan narrowed his eyes at me and studied for a moment before nodding. He doesn't look convinced though. Eat, he said as he pushed the cake to me. I nodded and just ate, even though I can feel the daggers from the stare of the man from the other table. I lasted for a few minutes. I can hear Miller talking about a business venture they are welcome to open in the coming months. I tried so hard to ignore his voice and I think I was doing so well until I felt my phone vibrating. Unregistered number. Hi, your outfit looks good on you. I narrowed my eyes on my screen. What the I automatically looked at Miller and saw him looking back at me with narrowed eyes. His jaw ticked and that made me look away. Ivan smiled at me and started talking about his schedule for the next week. He's not going to be in Chicago by then because they are going to shoot in Alabama. He hopes the shooting will end this month so he'd have more time with me. And to be honest, I wish the same thing too. I'll call you every night, he told me like a promise. I smiled and nodded. It's fine, I told him. Call me when you're not busy. I'll answer when I can, he sighed. When is your competition again? He asked. Is it in New York again? Next week, I said. In Toronto. He nodded. I'll see if I can swing by to watch you, he told me. I smiled and shook my head. You'll probably be tired by then. You should rest first. I'll ask Marie to take a video of my performance so I can show it to you after. Ivan reached for my hand and sighed. I promise. We'll go to a vacation after all of this, he said in a serious but sorry tone. Where do you want to go? He asked. I grinned, already excited, and started to think about the good vacation spots in the country and even in the South America. I hummed as I looked up. Brazil? Mexico? I suggested. Ivan chuckled and nodded. Well, it's good there, he told me. Do you want to go to tropical countries? How about Asia? He asked me. I nodded. Asian countries are rich in culture, so they're also a good choice. Japan? I beamed. He smiled and nodded. Okay, Japan seems nice, he agreed. I'll book a flight for us once our schedule clears. We need a vacation anyway. I chuckled. You don't need it, I said. You've been working so hard and nonstop. He sighed. I'm fine. What about you? You're always tired in practices. I laughed. I'm fine. Besides, I enjoy what I am doing. He nodded. Good to know, he said. When we get married, do you want to continue your dancing? My eyes widened at his sudden question. When we get married? What does that mean? He's thinking that far already? We haven't even dated each other for long. Ivan scrutinized my expression. Hey, he called. Were you taken aback? I swallowed and smiled weakly. Honestly, yes. He pursed his lips in a thin line. I'm sorry, but I don't see our relationship going somewhere else other than marriage, Cassandra. I blinked several times, taking in what he just said. I don't play games, and I already know who I want. His voice is serious and with no trace of any humor. So when the time is right, I want us to get married. I bit my lip and slowly nodded. I want that too, I said shyly. He smiled and pinched my cheek lightly. Good, then we're on the same page, he said before leaning in to kiss me on the lips. I love you, he whispered. I smiled. I love you too, I replied as I felt my phone vibrating inside my bag. Ivan quickly sat back and I got my phone out of my bag to read the message. Unregistered number. Baby, that's not how a kiss should be. I kiss better. My throat ran dry and realized how strongly I am affected by this message. Damn it, me. I don't care about your kiss, I replied angrily. Unregistered number. You will, and you will be screaming my name while I give you the orgasms you deserve. What the f? My eyes widened, scandalized at how bold he is. I was about to type in a reply when another message came in. Unregistered me. That's a promise. I swallowed hard and turned my phone off. What an ashul. I had to go the comfort room because I feel like I needed to calm myself, and I can't do that when Miller is around and when Ivan is so happily planning our vacation in front of me. I washed my hands several times before washing my face. He's an ashul, Cassandra. I repeated that sentence inside my head. I shouldn't be concerned or affected. He dumps girls as a hobby just because he gets enough of them pretty quick. He's rich and he's using it to his advantage. He's rich, so he thinks he can do anything he wants. He's not worth any attention. I took a deep breath and dried my face with a paper towel. My phone beeped again. I sighed and prayed so hard that it's not that Compton guy, but I was wrong. I sighed as I looked at my screen where his message is displayed. Unregistered number. Where are you? I clenched my jaw and slid the message to exit it. I didn't even bother to open it. I rolled my eyes and took in several deep breaths to calm my thoughts. He's not worth any attention, Cassandra. I repeated that until it seeped inside my system that I, indeed, don't have to be affected. All the words he just texted and said when we first met, all of them shouldn't dwell on me too much. I have Ivan and he's perfect. I spent at least 15 minutes in the comfort room trying to convince myself that I am alright and I can do it. I can last sitting a table across him without a feeling chills all over my spine when he stares at me blatantly. I can do this. I did all the pep talk to myself and they all went down the drain the moment I opened the door and saw him on the hallway. He's looking at the door like he's been waiting for it to open, and now that it finally did, he shifted and stood straight. I pursed my lips in a thin line as I pretended I wasn't taken aback and walked straight without even looking at him. I heard him sigh before I felt him hold my wrist. He pulled me and made me look at him. My eyes immediately narrowed. "What do you want?" I asked harshly. He raised his brow, seemingly unfazed by my rudeness. He even tilted his head to the side, feeling even more confident. I gulped and looked away. "Damn, that sharp jawline. Why did you block me?" he asked me. I obliquely turned to him, not expecting his question. "What?" I asked back. He clenched his jaw and sighed. "You blocked my other number." "Why?" I narrowed my eyes at him. Is he serious? He texted me just after breaking up with Cheska. Is he that insensitive, or is he just plain dumb? I let out a deep breath. Seriously? Are you hurt in the head? I asked sarcastically. You're asking me why I block you? You're impossible. I started to turn away, but he didn't let go of my wrist. Instead, he pulled me closer to him. He pursed his lips as his lips were only inch from mine. "I already told you, baby. I want you and I will get you." I gritted my teeth. "I have a boyfriend. I love him," I said in full emphasis. He smirked and nodded, mocking. "Sure you do for now." He smiled evilly. "How sure are you that you're going to love him still in the future?" he asked in a mischievous voice. I narrowed my eyes at him, already feeling annoyed and frustrated that he's insinuating that my love for Ivan will not last long. He must be crazy. Miller's brown eyes buried deep in me as he leaned closer, and I pressed my lips inward as a defense mechanism. He looked at my lips and chuckled. "Don't worry, baby. I'm not going to kiss you today, but maybe tomorrow." He leaned closer to my ear. "I can't wait to own your lips," he whispered in a husky voice that sent chills all over my system before leaving me in the hallway dumbfounded. Unregistered number. "Eat your lunch. You should have starved yourself." I pursed my lips in a thin line as I stared at the food delivery in front of me. It was pasta and pizza, one of the deadliest combination of food. We're not even allowed to eat that before competition. Miss Helenes walked towards me with a raised brow as she nodded at the food in front of me. "Did Ivan give you that?" she asked. I shook my head. She's hands-on when it comes to our diet, so I know that she hates that. I have a whole plate of carbs in front of me. "You can't eat that," she said in a prohibitive voice. I nodded and closed the container. "I'll give it to the janitor, Miss Helenes," I told him. She nodded, "Good," and then proceeded to the other students. Marie came to me and frowned at the food in front of me. "Wow, carb party," she asked. I shook my head. "Somebody delivered the food by mistake," I lied. She sighed hard and smelled the food. "Ah, so good," she said dreamily. "Why would the delivery guy give you this? This is torture." Her voice was overly dramatic. I chuckled at her reaction. I took the prepared meal for me and started eating it. I just sighed when the taste of the lettuce sank in my taste buds. "The pizza would have tasted nice," I said. Marie looked at me, frowning. "You bet," she said as she sadly opened the prep meal for her too. We ate in sadness with the pasta and pizza laid in front of us. We can definitely smell it and tortured ourselves even more. Now, I hate Miller even more. My phone beeped again. Unregistered number. "Will you be out early today?" I fought the urge to roll my eyes because Marie is just right in front of me, so I type in a reply instead. Me. Stop texting me. I know he wouldn't, but I hope he would. Unregistered number. Why would I? I pursed my lips in a thin line. Me. Because I don't like you. I don't care how rude it was. I just needed him to stop because as much as it is wrong, it is already annoying. Unregistered number. I don't like you too. I narrowed my eyes at the message. What the hell? I was about to type in a reply when another text came. Unregistered number. I want you and I always get what I want. I gritted my teeth. Me. I'm not a what. If I can't convince him, then maybe I can annoy him too. Unregistered number. Yes, you're a 100. What? I stared at the text, confused at what it meant. Hey, are you done? Marie's voice put me back from my deep thoughts. I looked at her and nodded. I kept my phone back in my bag. Let's go, I told her as we both went back and continued to practice. I didn't check my phone again because I had no time. I focused on polishing the choreography I made as the competition is just around the corner. Miss Helene seemed very impressed after because she uploaded after watching my practice performance. Very good, Cassandra. She beamed at me with a huge smile. It's almost flawless, she commented. I smiled, contented at what she said. Thank you, Miss Helenes. She smiled genuinely and nodded as she started to discuss the routines I have to enhance and the routines I have to perform well because they are the crucial points of the dance. When we were done talking about my routine, I was already dismissed. I immediately went and took a shower so I could go home. I want to sleep. I want to rest because I can't dance well when I'm fatigued. And I don't want that to happen. Are you coming? Marie asked and I immediately shook my head. I want to sleep. I just wanna rest. She pursed her lips. No need to unwind, she asked. I laughed and shook my head. I remember the last time I came. I met Miller and complicated my whole life. I don't want another moment like that, so I'm just going to go home and exclude myself from the party. Marie sighed and nodded. Couldn't do anything. Fine, but we're going to party after the competition, she beamed. I laughed and nodded. Sure, I look forward to that, she said in a hopeful voice. I nodded at her before preparing all my things to leave. I also texted Ivan that the day has ended when a text came in. Unregistered number. Are you done? I sighed. Me. Stop it. I pursed my lips on my reply. He must really stop because he can't do anything to change the way I'm feeling towards him. He's a womanizer and an ashul, a very deadly combination. Miller didn't reply after that, so it made me feel better. I felt like I won and I was so proud about it even though I don't say it. I was so energetic when I was saying goodbye to the people in the dance studio. I even waved at the guard. I was so happy. Until I saw a familiar person waiting on the parking lot. Mr. Compton is leaning on a shiny black Ferrari while typing something on his phone. His focus is only the phone while he typed vigorously. I almost jumped when I felt my phone vibrating. Unregistered number. I'm outside. I'm driving you home. My jaw almost dropped. What? I looked at him again and saw that he's only looking at his phone. He looked like he's anticipating something. I sighed. Me, I can't go home alone. I started to walk away and pray that he won't see me because I know that he's going to come after me if he sees me now. Unregistered number. But you can go home safer if I drive you home. I mentally rolled my eyes as I successfully left the studio premises without him noticing me. Alright, I made it. Me. No need. I immediately walked towards the bus stop like a ninja. I whispered to myself as I waited for a bus. I sat on the bench as my phone beeped again. Unregistered number. You'll need it soon. You'll see. I sighed and rolled my eyes. Me. No. I rolled my eyes in a frustration when my phone rang. I answered it quickly without even looking at the caller ID. Can you please stop calling me? You've asked, babe. Ivan's voice seemed worried. My eyes widened when I realized what just happened. Ivan? I asked the obvious like a stupid person. Is someone bothering you? He asked in a serious voice as I heard some background noises. Where are you? I bit my lip and mentally scolded myself for my stupidity. Huh? No, I just received a few wrong dialed calls. I explained, lied. I'm waiting for the bus. I'm on my way home. I heard him sigh. Okay, he said, defeated. I wish I was there to drive you home. I bit my lip and chuckled. It's fine, babe. I can manage. I assured him when I suddenly saw a familiar car coming. Shh. Panic rose in me as I saw Mr. Compton parking his fucking Ferrari right in front of me. He slid the window down and looked at me with narrowed eyes. I need to go, babe, I told Ivan. The bus is there? He asked innocently. I nodded. Yeah, the bus is here. I lied again. Bye. I'll call you when I get home. Okay, Ivan said and then hung up the phone. I pursed my lips in a thin line as I watched Miller get out of his car, walking towards my direction. How the did he know that I am here? Damn it. You didn't tell me you already left, he said in a serious tone. I rolled my eyes. Why are you here? I stepped back because I want distance between us to be at least a meter. He kicked his head to the side when he saw me moving away from him. And with only a step, he's gotten extremely close that my face is already inches only from his chest. I already told you, I'm driving you home. I looked at him sharply. Can you stop? I said, now getting angry. I already told you I don't like you. Stop it and leave me alone. His eyes widened and he looked taken aback. Yes, I gritted my teeth. I have a boyfriend that I love, and even though I don't have one, I won't like someone as ruthless and as useless as you are, I said as I saw a bus stopping. I pushed Miller, who was stoned and flabbergasted, and walked inside the bus. I sighed and smiled widely, mentally cheering for myself. I win. I feel really nervous, extremely nervous that I think I could poke my intestines out right in this moment. Today is the day of the competition and we're in Toronto. I am already in my black costume. Miss Helenes helped me in picking this outfit. She said the crystals that line the neckline is definitely the main point of this outfit. My hair is in a clean bun. My face is fully made up. Smoky eyes with small crystals lying on my right temple. An artificial gold feather is on the right side of my head, giving my hair a little accent. I am standing on the backstage, already on standby mode because I am the next one to perform. My heart is beating really loud as I heard the cheers of the people for the performer before me. Nothing is registering in my head and my hands are already getting cold. This is very different than what I am usually feeling before competitions. Normally, I would feel the nerves but not of this kind and intensity. I don't know if the reason is Tatiana Peters being one of the judges. She's been my role model after Miss Helenes. She's one of the best ballerinas in America in the whole early 2000s, and she's still until now. I wonder if I can impress her now with my routine because I really want to do the best in front of her. She's one of my idols and I want her to like me. Next, Miss Cassandra Phoebe Collins from the city of Chicago, the announcer stated. I took a deep breath before giving out a poised, wide smile as I started walking nervously to the center of the stage. The stadium is huge and I notice how my competitors already have a huge fan base. Now, I'm getting even more pressured. I only have Marie and Miss Helenes on the audience for me. The anxiety inside me is getting even higher. You can do it, I told myself as the music started playing and I began dancing my routine. With every turn and with every wave of my hands, I tried to imagine my life as an orphan and willed myself to do even better. Because I don't want to be in that situation again. Sure, it made me stronger, but I don't want to experience that situation again. I don't want to go back to being alone. I don't want to go back to being a woman of just dreams. I want to live my dream, and that's to become a good ballerina. I did my final turn and landed on my final pose. I heard a loud applause from the crowd and somehow it made me feel relieved. I also saw the judges nodding their head affirmatively. I smiled and looked at where Miss Helenes and Marie are. They are smiling widely while proudly clapping their hands. My heart calmed down and felt comfortable with my performance. Thank you, Miss Collins, for Chicago. I did a final bow before exiting the stage. I immediately went back to the standby area and waited for the other contestants to finish before the announcement of winners. I sat and prayed for better results. But above all, I prayed for a healthy and fair competition. We were called in for the final announcement. We were all lined up in front of everyone while holding hands like any other competition. The second and first runner-ups were called and my name still hasn't been called in. My heart is pounding against my chest as the announcer opened the envelope containing the winner's name. My throat went dry as the announcer smiled upon reading the name of the winner. And the winner is... The announcer trailed, building up even more anticipation. I gulped so hard as I felt my hands being squeezed by the girls beside me. They are also nervous like me. I can feel it. The winner is Miss Cassandra Phoebe Collins from Chicago, the host announced, making my eyes go wide and my jaw drop in surprise. Oh my God, I won! The girls beside me already started hugging and congratulating me while I was still in deep shock. I just won one of the biggest ballet competitions for the year, and this will also give me a contract with one of the musicals that will start showing by the start of next year. I must be dreaming. I was pushed to the center while the judges came and awarded me a ballerina trophy and a gold sash. They also hugged me and told me that I have a lot more to offer the world of ballet. I spent a few more minutes on the stage until I got to escape and go to Miss Helenes and Marie, who are equally happy for my achievement. You are so good, Marie told me as she hugged me. Miss Helenes nodded. You did so great, Cassandra. Congratulations, she told me as she hugged me as well. I thanked them in tears of joy before I ran back to the backstage to get changed. Miss Helene said that we'll have a celebratory dinner tonight before we head back to Chicago first thing in the morning. She's happy because Marie placed second on her category and I won. We all succeeded here in Canada. I took a bath and changed into simple shirt and jeans with a long, thick coat. I also wore a brown beanie before heading to where Miss Helenes and Marie. I slung my duffel bag around my arm when I heard my phone beep. Unregistered number. Congratulations, ballerina. I bit my lip. Usually, I would get annoyed, but because I am in euphoria now, I type in a reply. Me. Thanks. I also took this chance to call Ivan to tell him that I won, but then, the moment the call was answered, I heard a woman's voice. Hello? She asked in a soft voice. I pursed my lips. Where's Ivan? I asked, trying to remove all the bad ideas in my brain. Ivan's in a shooting, so I think this could be his manager or makeup artist. Oh, my boyfriend is in the shower. Who is this? My jaw dropped. What? I wanted to say something, but then I heard Ivan's voice in the background and I immediately ended the call. My hand gripped tightly on the strap of my duffel bag as the happiness I felt just a few moments ago was gone in a blink. Tears started to form around my eyes as I walked to the exit. I harshly wiped the tears on my face when I felt someone hold my wrist. I narrowed my eyes, ready to snap at the person when my eyes widened because Mr. Compton is looking at me curiously. Are you okay? He asked in a low baritone, and that's when I started to break down. I cried in front of him and didn't care what he'd say because all I can think of is Ivan is cheating on me. He said he'll be in the shooting so he couldn't make it. But he's with someone else. Cassandra? Miller asked, probably in shock of what just happened to me. I shook my head and turned my back at him. It was wrong of me to cry in front of him. Now he's going to pester me with questions again. Hey, he called me softly as he gently held my hand and tried to make me face him again. He even took my duffel bag from me and slung it over his shoulder. I sighed and got the bag from him, but he shook his head. What's wrong? He asked. I rolled my eyes and shook my head. He caught his head to the side and raised his brow. Nothing made you cry? He asked. Are you sure? He was a little sarcastic at his final remark. I'm sure. I sighed and shook my head as I got the bag from him. He still didn't give me, but he's looking at me with a ghost of a smile on his lips. What are you doing tonight? He asked, and I'm glad that he didn't dwell too much on the reason why I cried. I have dinner with Miss Helenes and Marie. He raised his brow. You're actually talking to me better now, he commented. I wonder if you have to cry first before I'd get you to talk to me like you do with everyone else. I looked at him and saw something in his eyes. I pursed my lips in a thin line before sighing. Why do you like wasting your time with me? I asked him. His eyes narrowed for a moment before he chuckled weakly. Do you think I am wasting my time? He asked back. I frowned at him. Do you think you're not? I questioned. You are a rich man. You have a lot of options and I bet you have someone chosen for you to marry. Whoa, baby, stop, he chuckled as he stopped me. I narrowed my eyes at him. Stop calling me that. I rolled my eyes. He continued to laugh. You're thinking way too ahead in the future, he told me. I'm not wasting my time on you. I wouldn't come to another country just to watch you perform if I think you're a waste of time. I stared at his words. Is he serious? His eyes zeroed on me. And I don't have someone else to marry. I won't let someone else, not even my parents, decide that for me, he said in a serious tone. So, are we good? Something about his words made me speechless. I don't even know why I am speechless. His words shouldn't matter to me, but they get to me. Or maybe it's just because I feel hurt now to know that Ivan has someone else. I have a boyfriend. My voice was shaking because the pain envelops me whenever I think of Ivan as my boyfriend. Miller nodded. And where is he anyway? I pursed my lips in a thin line. He has a schedule. He cocked his head to the side. A schedule he couldn't cancel so he could be with you? He asked, and his words started to taunt me. I used to love how Ivan loves his job, but after that call, I began to hate his job now. It's crazy, actually. Ivan lied to me, but I couldn't hate him fully, so I chose to hate his job instead. Miller narrowed his eyes at me. You don't deserve being neglected for anything, Cassandra. You deserve the whole world, and I'm willing to give you everything if only you would choose me. I blinked several times. What? I asked, almost breathless because I am taken aback by his words. He pursed his lips in a thin line. I am serious. Leave him. Be with me and I'll give you everything he couldn't give you. Miller, what do you need? Time? I'll cancel all my meetings just to watch your shows. Commitment? I'll turn down every model just to make you mine. My heart started pounding against my chest. His eyes pursed deep inside me and his voice was void of any humor. He's dead serious on this and I feel like my soul is slowly leaving my body because of his words. He stepped closer and held my chin up to face him. His eyes dropped to my lips. You're so beautiful, he whispered like a prayer. Can I kiss you? I thinned my lip and gulped. Miller, I whispered as a warning, but I don't know how it sounded like because his eyes suddenly softened. I can see that he's restraining himself from doing something that would annoy me. I can see how he's fighting himself just to not make me mad. He sighed and stepped back. He shut his eyes forcefully before looking back at me. I'm sorry. Don't mind that question, he said before looking away. I stared at him sharp jawline that's clenching hard right now. My eyes went down his hands and saw them fested on his sides. Congratulations, he said in a whisper. I narrowed my eyes at the sudden change of his mood. But then, I just shrugged. I shouldn't be affected too much because I have a bigger problem than this. Thanks. He nodded and then started to walk away without a word. I watched him curiously as walk away from me, like he's been itching to leave me. What the hell is wrong with him? I mumbled to myself. I sighed and just shook my head as I started to walk towards the opposite way to spend dinner with Miss Helenes and Marie. Babe, Ivan came to the studio in the same day that I got back. He's been trying to call me to explain but I kept shutting him out because I am not really ready to forgive him just yet. I am so mad at him that I can't even make myself listen to his words. I trusted him. He was that one man I thought would never leave me. I guess I was wrong. That was my manager. He started to explain but I rolled my eyes and just continued to rehearse. She doesn't know about us yet. I looked at him sharply. I am aware that I am his little secret. He wanted me to come to him several times for his premiere nights but I couldn't because I know his management wouldn't let him. They want to market him as a bachelor in order to have more female supporters and I understand that. But I would never ever tolerate cheating. Then why did she say that she's your girlfriend? I asked, bitterness dripping on my voice. Ivan sighed. I don't know. I was so mad at her when she told me about what she did. It was already late when I realized that you called. His voice sounded pleading. Desperation was also noted but I can't make myself forgive him anyway. I miss you, he said weakly. I really do. He held my hand and made me face him. He crouched a little to meet my gaze. His eyes are filled with sorrow as he carries my face. I'm sorry, he uttered and I can hear sincerity. Or am I just being stupid? Forgive me, please," he begged softly before dipping down for a quick kiss. And just like that, I melted. "Please?" he asked again, painfully. I looked at him for a few moments before sighing. "Fine," I uttered, "but I don't want something like this to happen again," I warned. He nodded and smiled widely. "It won't happen again," he said like a promise. I smiled and hugged him tight. "I love you." He chuckled and kissed my hair. "I love you too, so much," he whispered, and everything felt right once more. Ivan and I never fought again. He was very sweet and thoughtful that he cancels his schedule just to watch me dance in the musical. I have never been so happy and contented in my life. My 2 years with Ivan has been the best years of my life because I didn't only have him. I also got a job that pays well and that I love doing. I have always heard from others that job and passion can't be yours all the time, so I am happy that my job is my passion. I love being a ballerina and I love performing in front of a lot of people. "You have a rehearsal this afternoon," Marie reminded me. I nodded as I was busy teaching little kids the basics of ballet. This is what I always do during the summer. I teach kids and try to inspire them to be ballerinas. I have never been to ballet schools before and I don't want other kids to feel that way. "That's good, Jane," I beamed as I smiled at the girl who was struggling on her tiptoe. "Hold on the bar so you won't fall," I told her kindly, and she beamed at me. I smiled widely, happy that she's doing her best even when she's struggling. "Are you listening?" Marie asked me. I nodded. "Yes," I replied without taking my eyes off the kids. I heard Marie sighed. "Where is Harriet anyway?" "She's in charge of your schedules." "She's already sounding frustrated because my manager is out." "She had to go to the hospital to check on her daughter," I replied. Marie sighed once more. "I hope everything is well with her daughter because you're going to need her in the next weeks. You're going on an American tour." I smiled and shrugged. "I am not yet thinking about that. It's still in the coming weeks and I haven't had the final lineup of the places I would talk and visit. But this is my first tour, so I am excited. I am excited to meet more people who are very interested in ballet. I am excited to talk about the things that I love." "Is Ivan coming, by the way?" Mary asked. I nodded. "I already told him and he said he'll come," I replied. Ivan was even more excited than me. He's been very supportive of what I do and I love it. Even if we're still a secret, he always says we're just friends. He explained it all to me and I totally understand his job. I love that he's always cheering for me. "That's good," Marie said before watching some videos on her phone again. I shrugged it off and just focused on teaching the adorable kids. I looked at the clock and I still have 15 minutes with them before their parents come and get them. I want to maximize the time, so I taught them another skill. They were very happy to have moved on from their balancing lessons. Well, the first steps are always boring because they are all basics. The kids were happy to go home after class. "We'll meet again tomorrow to continue what we started." I waved at all of them as their parents thanked me for a successful ballet class. I watched them leave before walking to Marie, who's plopped on the floor, watching something on her phone with serious eyes. I leaned closer to see what's on her screen. "What's that?" I asked, and my eyes narrowed when I saw a familiar man on the video with a woman. Miller Damian Compton, the heir of the Compton banks, is finally out of the market, the reporter said happily. I heard Marie's harsh sigh, like she's disappointed or something. I focused on the screen and listened to the whole report. He's been seen with a Latina model, Gretchen Mariano. Pictures of the two eating in a restaurant and partying in a bar were shown on the video. Netizens have also posted photos of them cuddling up in what seemingly is a vacation in the Caribbean. Another photo of them cuddling in a sun lounger was shown. Miller's arms are all over the girl's body while they shared a deep kiss. I frowned at the photo in disgust. How good must it be to be kissed by the Mr.Compton? Marie sighed dreamily. This is definitely one of the luckiest beaches in the world. I looked at Marie and saw her staring at the screen. I sighed and she threw me a glance. What? Isn't that the man who dumped Cheska? I asked, trying to sound innocent. Marie nodded, but Cheska already has moved on. She already has a boyfriend who's also hot. So I think she's finally moved on, she said. And besides, it's already been more than 2 years, Kes. Everyone has moved on. I was slightly taken aback by her words. Everyone has moved on. She's right. Everybody has moved on, so why am I feeling like I haven't? Everyone has been waiting for this to happen because we all know how hot this bachelor is. The reporter giggled. Hit like if you think this is a good match. And if you don't think so, still hit the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates with this royal relationship. Royal relationship? What is he? A prince? This reporter is pushing it and she's worshipping him like he's some god or a descendant of the king. This. Marie exited the program and sighed. I need to drink tonight. Wanna come? She asked. I need to party and look for a man so I can be happy too. I narrowed my eyes at her. Don't you have Chase? I asked. She rolled her eyes. Please, Chase is so last month and I already heard he's dating a girl named Yenala. So we're good. It's all fun and but now we're done. I swallowed hard at her words. She says like it's the most normal thing in the world. Well, not like it's abnormal. It's absolutely normal. I'm just not used to listening it that casually. Marie raised her brow. What? Don't tell me Ivan hasn't. My eyes widened and she looked at me in horror almost automatically. Are you serious? She asked me in disbelief. I looked down and pouted. We're not like that, I told her. She scoffed. So, you're still a virgin? She asked in a whisper. I lifted my head and looked at her. I am. Shock was seen in her face when she heard of my revelation. It was as if it was a sin for me to still be a virgin even though I have had a boyfriend for more than 2 years now. Oh my gosh, she's very dramatic. For real? Ivan hasn't done anything? I frowned at her. He's not like that, but he's a man and men have needs, Cassandra. Don't tell me he was in a drought for 2 years. I don't think a man would last that long. I looked at her curiously. There's something in her words that made me think men have needs, and women should give it to them. Is that it? Ivan and I never got farther than a hot make-out session inside his car. He only got to my neck and then we'd stop. He'd stop and apologize right after. Is that wrong of him to do? Marie shook her head and patted my shoulder. Sister, you need to work on your charisma. The last time a man I dated didn't have sex with me for days. I caught him screwing someone else behind my back. She raised her brow. Ivan is all good but he's a man, Kes. Marie's words lingered in my head. He's a man and men have needs. Ivan is all good but he's a man, Kes. I cursed mentally as I got into my car. I drove home while calling Ivan through the Bluetooth system. He answered after 2 rings. Hey babe, he said in a husky voice. I frowned and took a deep breath. I wanna have sex. I heard him cough on the other line. "What?" he asked, still sounding so shocked. "Cassandra, is that you?" I rolled my eyes and tried my hardest to drive properly. "How come we never had sex?" I asked him again. Ivan was silent from the other line for a few moments. "Babe, what are you talking about?" he asked in a calm voice. "Couples have sex. Even people who are not yet officially have sex," I started. "But why do we not have sex? We're together for more than 2 years now." Damn, I didn't care how I sounded. I just wanted to know why he's not touched me yet until now. Marie's face when she knew I was still a virgin was haunting me. Now I feel like it is a grave sin to be a virgin. Damn it. "Babe, I don't want you to feel like it's all I want from you," he said. "And besides, I want our first night to be on our wedding night." I pouted and stopped when I saw the stoplight lit up. "Do we have to wait until our wedding day?" I asked in a small voice. Ivan chuckled lowly from the other line. "Why are you asking me this anyway? I'm in Florida, babe. You can't call me asking for sex." I sighed and tried to just shake it off. "It was just a random thought," I told him. "When are you coming back?" "I miss you," I said sweetly. He sighed heavily. "I miss you too, babe." I can hear longing from his voice. "I'll be back by Sunday. Are you okay?" he asked, sounding so worried. I nodded even though he couldn't see. "Marie asked me if I could go on a night out with her tonight. Can I go?" Ivan chuckled. "Yes, you can. Just don't drink and drive, okay?" he reminded. I smiled and nodded. "Okay," replied. "Thank you." "Take care, okay? No boys," he warned. I chuckled and shook my head. "Of course," I beamed before telling him that I'll be hanging up. I'm already on the entrance of my condo unit. I parked my car and walked inside while texting Marie that I will join her in her night out later. She replied a lady happily dancing as a gift, and I just shook my head. It was only 4 in the afternoon, so I had time to rest. I changed into comfortable clothes and plopped myself on the couch as I turned the television on. I was busy flipping through the channels when I accidentally saw Miller on the screen. He's talking on the podium in what seemingly is a conference. I checked the channel and it was all about business. Miller is wearing a gray tuxedo with a white inner shirt and a checkered blue tie. His brows are furrowed as he was explaining something. With every movement of his lips, his jaw sharpens even more. I swallowed. He's gotten even more handsome. Damn it. And then I remembered that he's already in a relationship with a model. Something in me knotted and I got so frustrated at myself. I changed the channel quickly and calmed myself. He hasn't contacted me since the day we met in Canada. I haven't even seen him. Well, it was nice not to have him lurking around me, especially since Ivan and I got even more serious with our relationship. I didn't need a Mr. Compton who only wants to destroy my relationship with Ivan. And now, he's already in a relationship. Good for him. I'm not wasting my time on you. I wouldn't come to another country just to watch you perform if I think you're a waste of time. I don't have someone else to marry. I won't let someone else, not even my parents, decided that for me. You don't deserve being neglected for anything, Cassandra. You deserve the whole world and I'm willing to give you everything if only you would choose me. I am serious. Leave him. Be with me and I'll give you everything he couldn't give you. What do you need? Time? I'll cancel all my meetings just to watch your shows. Commitment? I'll turn down every model just to make you mine. My throat went dry as I recalled his words before he turned and left. Can I kiss you? I shut my eyes. and willed myself to eradicate all my thoughts of him. I shouldn't be thinking about him. Damn it, he's already happy in a relationship, and I am happy too. Ivan is the best man I could ever pray for, so I have nothing to be sulking for. Miller Compton is a man who is very aggressive, and he's one of the most sought-after bachelors, so that means he can get any woman he wants. He's very determined and very authoritative. So why am I even shocked to see him in a relationship? He can get girls without even saying a word. Marie is also salivating for him. Fine, he's hot. Damn, I'm being stupid again. But Miller is in a relationship and it's good for him. He deserves to be happy too, I guess. I swallowed hard and grabbed my phone. I started looking for the last message he sent me. It was when he congratulated me when I won in Toronto. I bit my lip and stared at his number before saving it to my phone. Miller Compton. There, I have his number saved. There's nothing to be bitter about. I was pushing him away, and he did go away. I am happy that he did. I am happy. But why do I sound like I am convincing myself that I am happy? I sighed and started typing a message for him. Me. Congratulations on your relationship. I stared at the message I just typed and deleted it before I sent it. Me. Congrats, she's pretty. I sighed before pursing my lips. I deleted the message because I feel like I am stalking him. Me. Congrats, my friend says you're in a relationship. There. That wouldn't sound stalkerish, right? I talked to myself before hitting send, sighing after the message is sent. I got up and prepared for the night out with Marie. I think I need a drink tonight. Music blasted when Marie and I entered the club. She smiled at the bouncers and the bouncers just nodded at her without even asking for anything, like ID from her. I gave the bouncer a look and he just winked at me. I frowned and looked away before Marie pulled me inside. To be honest, I wanted to punch the man straight to the nose, that's why I looked away. If I continued to stare at him, it would have annoyed me to death. Let's party, Marie squealed as we immediately walked to the center of the dance floor without further ado. A remix and tune-up of a famous ballad song was playing and is making the crowd go wild, cheering and laughing. I can hear everything, but most of all, I can smell the mix of cigar and alcohol on almost all the directions. A hand suddenly went to my shoulder and I saw a man smiling down at me meaningfully. I narrowed my eyes at him while he continued to jive with the music. He leaned closer to my ear. "What's your name?" he asked before eyeing my body. I am wearing a crop halter black sleeveless top, a mustard jean shorts, and a pair of gold pumps. My hair is in a French braid while I have slight makeup on my face. I narrowed my eyes at him and started to walk away. I'm not here to look for a man. I'm here to have fun and unwind. I felt grateful that the man didn't follow me. I guess that's how it goes in clubs. When a lady rejects you, you go on to another woman until someone agrees to dance with you. I sighed and walked to the door, unable to find Marie anymore. She's in the middle of the sea of people, so I just texted her. Me. I'm at the bar. I'll just stay here until we're finished. I kept my phone inside my pocket before looking at the menu of the drinks. I don't really drink and I don't go clubs, so I have no idea of these drinks. I stared stupidly at the menu when someone spoke. Women shouldn't drink those. A low baritone came to my ears. I looked at the direction of the voice and saw a man beside me. He's only looking at the glass of whiskey in front of him. He's wearing a long-sleeved button-down shirt with its first three buttons undone. His hair is disheveled and is pointing at all directions, and he doesn't care about it. His eyes mirrored sadness even with only looking at a glass of liquor. His sharp jawline is clenched and his eyes are also a bit red. Was he crying? My eyes widened when he suddenly looked at me with narrowed eyes. "I'm sorry." I looked away immediately. I heard him chuckle lowly. "It's okay," he said. "Why are you here?" he asked. "Huh?" I asked, confused. He pursed his lips. "Any problem why you're here and not dancing there?" He rephrased his question. I looked back at the dance floor and saw how crowded it was. "I'm not interested in dancing with intoxicated people. Only God knows what a drunk person could be. I don't want to risk my safety." I pursed my lips and shook my head. "Not in the mood," I replied and shrugged. He chuckled. "I didn't know dancing has to be a mood," he uttered before sipping on his glass. I looked at him and watched his face change expression when he swallowed the liquor. It must have burned down his throat. "What about you? You only came here to drink?" I asked him curiously. I don't really expect him to answer, but I don't want a dead air between us. He's the only one I could talk to right now. But of course, if he doesn't want to answer my question, then it's fine with me. I'm not going to force him to talk to me. And besides, I'm not here to talk to him. He was silent for a while, so I just busied myself with the menu. I was about to call the bartender to order when the man beside me suddenly spoke. "I came here to forget," he said softly, "or maybe to sleep. I have been sleepless for days." I turned to him, tipping my head to the side as I eyed him curiously. "To sleep?" I asked and then looked at the empty glass in front of him. He nodded and smiled weakly. "The girl I love left." He's laughing, but his voice didn't show any humor. Without a word, I shifted on my seat and looked at him with a disappointed heart. I don't know if I'm disappointed at the girl who left him or at him. He must love the girl, but then her leaving would mean he did something grave to her, and that she couldn't stay anymore. I don't know. It's my fault, I think," he continued even without me encouraging him. He chuckled weakly and shook his head. "I am a jerk. I was the jerk in her life, and now she's left me." I narrowed my eyes at him, trying to understand his situation. I know how it's like to be left. My parents left me behind when I was a kid. My mother died of cancer and my father died of depression. I was sent to the orphanage and was taken care of my nuns. My life has been a mess without my parents, and I hate the thoughts I have every night. They are dead. They are not coming back no matter how many prayers I pray. They're gone, but I'm sure that both of them want me to live my life to the best way I can. I know that they want me to live my dreams, and that's the push I give myself every day. "You'll find someone better," I told him. He slowly looked at me before shaking his head. "Nah, she's the best I could ever have." Sadness and bitterness couldn't escape my hearing. His voice sounded so lonely. I stared at him, wondering who that girl would be, how she would look like, because this man is handsome. His eyes are deep. His eyebrows are thick but not too much. His nose is so tall. His jawline is so sharp that he could pass as a model or an actor. And damn, now that I am staring at him, even when he's in anguish, he looks so dangerous. Even with sadness in his eyes, he still gets a lot of attention from the girls in here. It couldn't escape my sight that the girls around are giving him glances. He suddenly smiled at me. "What's your name?" he asked. I blinked several times, not expecting him to ask me that. Cassandra," I replied, still shocked. He narrowed his eyes at me and looked at me curiously. "Cassandra?" he asked. Now he looked so curious. I blinked at him, trying to equal his curious stare. He shook his head and smiled. "I'm Porter Dan, by the way." "Porter Dan," he introduced himself. "Porter, that's a good name." I nodded and smiled. "Nice to meet you, Porter." He chuckled and shook his head. I can see that he was about to tell me something when he looked behind me before smirking. "Miller," he uttered. My eyes widened and I froze on my seat. Suddenly, the message I sent him is flashing in front of my eyes. I just sent him a congratulatory message right before coming here. Damn it. Porter smiled at me before raising his hands in surrender. "I'm out, cousin," he told the man behind me. He looked at me. "Nice meeting you, Cassandra. I'll go ahead now." My lips parted as I saw him stand up. He nodded at me before saluting. He ran his fingers through his already disheveled hair. He started walking away and the man from behind me started to block my vision of Porter's back. I raised my brow at Miller, whose eyes are narrowed at me like he's mad at me. "What?" I asked, tipping my head to the side. I wanted to add something else but I decided against it. He pursed his lips in a thin line and narrowed his eyes at me. "What are you doing here?" he asked me in a controlled voice. I frowned at him. "Am I not allowed?" I asked back. "He looks ravishing tonight. He's only on his white v-neck shirt and faded jeans but he looked exceptional. I admit that. Actually, he looks more handsome when he's wearing these clothes than when he's wearing corporate attire." He clenched his jaw. "What are you doing talking to Porter?" he hissed. I narrowed my eyes at him. "What is it to you?" "I actually think this conversation is pointless." He's not answering me and I sure as hell am not answering him. He pursed his lips and sighed. He called the bartender and ordered a shot of whiskey. The bartender looked at me but Miller dismissed him. "She won't drink." The bartender confusedly looked at me and then at Miller before nodding. I narrowed my eyes at Miller, who's already staring at me. "I wanna drink," I told him. He sighed. "No, it's not safe to drink in a bar, Cassandra." "So why are you drinking?" I asked, already pouting because he would give me what I want. And who is he to tell me if it's okay to drink or not? He licked his lower lip and I couldn't help but stare at it. Damn, I immediately looked away to shoo away all the unnecessary thoughts in my head. I heard him harsh breath. "How are you?" he asked, this time softly. His voice was so gentle that I had to look at him to see if he's really the one who talked. And when I saw him staring at me with a gentle gaze, I shifted on my seat. I pursed my lips. "I'm good," I replied. I wanted to ask him too but I felt like I would not like his reply so I just answered his question. He nodded. "I bet you're happy with Ivan," he commented. I swallowed, not knowing why I suddenly felt uncomfortable that he just spoke of Ivan's name. Maybe I wasn't really used to him saying Ivan's name this slightly. I've always thought that he thinks of Ivan as his rival. But well, he's already in a relationship now. He wouldn't want to do anything with me anymore. I smiled and nodded. "I bet you're happy too with your relationship." He narrowed his eyes at me. "What relationship?" he asked innocently. I pouted at him. I wanted to elaborate but I don't want him to think that I am stalking him. Hell, I didn't stalk him. I just saw what Marie was watching. And speaking of Marie, I stood up and started to go to the direction of the dance floor. I need to find Marie now. I don't want her causing a scene. But then, even before I could move farther away, I was stopped by Miller's hand on my wrist. I looked at him sharply. "Where are you going?" he asked me. I gritted my teeth. "I'm gonna find Marie." I pursed his lips in a thin line. "You can't find her in that sea of people," he said like I don't know it. I yanked my hand away. "Doesn't matter. I need to look for her so we could go home now." I rolled my eyes. I heard him sigh before pulling me towards him. "What's with the sudden change of mood, Cassandra? I thought we're in good terms." I narrowed my eyes at him. "Good terms?" I asked, already annoyed. He inhaled a sharp breath. "Aren't we?" "Since when are we?" His eyes narrowed and he looked at me curiously, like he's trying to study me for a moment. "What's the problem?" he asked, sounding so gentle that I hate him even more. I stepped back and he stood up just so he could still hold me. "You have a girlfriend." He cocked his head to the side. "I don't." I scoffed. "Don't lie to me. I saw a photo of you kissing a Latina model in a vacation. You seem cozy." I didn't know, but I feel like it was wrong of me to point that out. And I hate that I was blinded by my frustration that I had to blurt it out. He looked at me curiously as I can see the rise of the side of his lips. He immediately bit his lip before a smile could break out. "Okay? Okay." My voice is already rising. Miller blinked at me. "The model is not my girlfriend," he stated. "Is that why you sent me a congratulatory text?" My whole system froze and my eyes widened. "So he received it?" He pursed his lips tightly when he saw my reaction. "Did you think I have someone else?" he asked. I looked away, but he held my cheek and made me face him again. "It doesn't matter. I don't like you anyway." He stared at me, amused. "Really?" he asked in a husky voice. He leaned closer. "You don't like me, but why are you so mad right now? Is it because you thought I have a girlfriend?" I swallowed hard. I already feeling my whole system shaking with his stare. Damn it. He carries my cheek and leaned closer. "Baby, I still don't do girlfriends." "I don't care." I was already gritting my teeth. He chuckled lowly. "I miss your resistance." He leaned his face closer. "I still remember the last time I held you. It still haunts me every night." My heart started to race. I wanted to push him away but I couldn't move. One of his hands went to my waist. "Baby, how do I move on from you?" he asked while his eyes pierced through my soul. "Slap me now, please," he said as he's slowly leaning to kiss me. "Stop me." His voice is already my weakness. I wanted to, but I can't move. I felt like my whole system is shutting down. He leaned down, his lips only centimeters away from mine. "I have always imagined how it would feel to kiss you." He carries my waist. "Every fucking night." I swallowed hard, still unable to move. "I miss you so much," he said before our lips finally touched and all my sanity was gone. Miller's lips hovered on top of mine expertly while I was frozen on my spot. My eyes are wide open and I can see his eyes close while he moved his head side to side just to kiss me in different angles. He bit my lower lip and pulled me closer to him while his hands are on the small of my back. My hands are pressed against his chest. As I slowly closed my eyes, I started responding to his kisses like my mouth has a mind of its own because I know that I willed myself to push him away. But damn, the way his lips moved expertly against mine made me lose all my sanity. I could feel him smiling through the kiss as he started to kiss me even deeper. He bit my lip once again and I was drawn with his kisses now. He broke away from the kiss and leaned his forehead against mine. "Ah!" I'm guessing I'll have sleepless nights because of your lips. I swallowed and tried to calm my beating heart. He's still panting from the kiss and I am still recovering from the mind-blowing kiss. How could he kiss me like that? He sucked all out the oxygen inside me through that kiss. And now I understand why Cheska was so devastated when he dumped her. He is this good. And I know that he is so good because even with all the kisses I have shared with Ivan, I have never felt this way before. I have never felt like I am wanting for more. He kisses the tip of my nose. Your lips, he trailed before letting out a deep growl. Your lips should be hidden. Your kiss should be forbidden. He whispered before dipping in for a quick kiss. I swallowed hard. We shouldn't do this, I whispered back. He shook his head. I can't stop this, he uttered. No, baby, I can't anymore. I slightly pushed him away before shaking my head. No, this is a mistake. I have to stop before I commit a grave sin. That kiss never happened. It took me every will and courage to tell him that because I already know that I am slowly giving in to his commands. He leaned down and kissed me even more. He caressed my cheek so gently that it made me close my eyes. I have waited for this moment, Cassandra. I've always wanted to kiss you. You've always been my biggest temptation. So don't tell me that this is a mistake, he uttered. Because if this is a mistake, why does it feel so right? My heart boomed against my chest. Miller. He caressed my lips with his thumb and shook his head. I'm not going to let you go, he said like a promise. I won't let you push away. You kissed me back. You wanted me to. I took a deep breath and pushing him away. I was just caught in the moment, I defended. I didn't like your kisses, I blurted. He looked at me, amused at what I am telling him. Caught off guard? He asked as he crossed his arms against his chest. You are not caught off guard, baby. You were shocked for the first few moments, but you were not caught off guard because you had the time to push me away. Instead, you kissed me back. I pursed my lips in a thin line and clenched my fist on my side. I cannot believe him. He's impossible. And besides, I gave you the option to slap me and you didn't. I took a deep breath and rolled my eyes, choosing to just walk away for it to be over. Gladly, I was already lost in the sea of people before he called me. I ignored him and prayed he wouldn't get to me before I get Marie. I craned my neck and started to look for my best friend. I only stopped when I saw her dancing in the middle of the crowd with three men. I frowned at her. Is she serious? I bolted to her and yanked her arm just to pull her away from the boys who are obviously already intoxicated with alcohol. She looked at me, a bit shocked at my sudden entrance before giggling. I narrowed my eyes at her, realizing that she's also intoxicated like the boys she's with. What the How did she even get a drink? Let's go, you're drunk, I told her calmly. She sighed and yanked her arm from me. Yes, let's have more fun. I don't want to sober up, she told me. I pursed my lips in a thin line. We have training tomorrow. You can't be drunk now, I insisted. How did you even drink anyway? You were here the whole time. My eyes drifted on the bottle of beer that the men are holding and finally figured it all out. They gave her drinks. Is it even okay to drink on the dance floor? They shouldn't be given drinks when on the dance floor. Damn it! I glared at the boys who didn't even seem to care before directing my gaze back at Marie, who also didn't seem to care. Yes, she said. Let me have fun tonight. I promise we'll go home before 12. She sounded so serious that I couldn't help but just nod. I was taken aback because she didn't sound drunk at all. She gave me a weak smile, and there I saw sadness in her eyes. She broke up with Chase just last month, and now that he's dating someone else, maybe it's hard for her too. She just wouldn't show in her sober state. But now, I can see how hard it was for her. Fine, I sighed. She smiled at me and kissed my cheek. Thanks, Q. I love you so much. She beamed before resuming to dance again. I'll just go to the bathroom, I told her. She nodded and gave me an okay sign. Let's meet at 11:30. She shouted and I nodded before walking away. I checked my watch. It's only 10:30. A long way to go before 11:30. I sighed and bit my lip when I saw Miller looking at me with narrowed eyes. He's waiting on the side of the dance floor with arms crossed. He immediately walked to me when he saw. "Did you find her?" he asked. I nodded and looked away. After the kiss, I couldn't help but think that he's just too handsome for me. Actually, now that I think of it, he kind of resembles Porter. Only Porter looked kinder even with his dangerous gaze. Miller held my elbow and made me face him. "So, are you going home?" "I'll drive the both of you home." I glared at him. "No need, we have a car." He raised his brow. "Are you even fit to drive?" he asked in an accusing tone. I scoffed. "Of course, I can drive now, duh. It's been more than 2 years. You think I'm still the same old Cassandra who didn't know anything about the world?" He stared at me, shocked at my sudden outburst. It took him a moment before he pursed his lips in a thin line and shook his head. "Cassandra, I have never thought of you that way," he said in a voice like a lullaby. My lips parted as I heard his words. "The first time I saw you, I thought you were very beautiful. And when I knew you better, I was drawn because of your dedication and perseverance," he said while caressing my face. "I have never thought of you as someone who didn't know anything about the world. I knew you as a woman who wanted to conquer it and make it hers. And now you have, because you already have my world." I shivered at his words. His voice didn't have any humor while he said those words. He was so serious and it made me lose all my senses once more. I pursed my lips, willing myself to do what I am expected to do: reject him. "I have a boyfriend," I uttered, wanting it to have conviction but failed miserably. He smiled weakly. "I know that, baby," he replied, nodding. "I am not going to make you choose between me and him." "I will not choose you," I yelled at him and didn't even care about the eyes of the people around us. He looked at me, eyes wide before sighing. He nodded and looked down while biting his lower lip. "I know," he said in a sad tone. "I know, baby." I looked at him, melting at the sight of him looking sullen. But why am I feeling this way anyway? I should be happy that he understood. I should leave now and never see him again. I have lived better with the years. He was gone. He can't just barge in and ruin my sanity again. Because I admit that I have always been thinking about him all throughout the time he was gone. I have been wondering where he was and what he's doing. But I am starting to get over that. Until I saw that videos of him and the Latina model. Damn it. Good. I looked at him seriously. "Then you probably understand that this is nothing. The kiss was nothing." He slowly looked at me. He pursed his lips and pain suddenly crossed his face. He stayed that way for a few moments before sighing hard. His stare hardened but I didn't care at all. "Stop seeing me," Stop following me. I gritted my teeth. You're good at that, right? You did it for more than 2 years. I rolled my eyes before leaving him alone. My head is aching so bad, Marie complained when we met the next day at the dance studio. I looked at her and frowned. That's what you get if you drink too much, I told her while I continued my stretching routine. We got home at around 11. I didn't wait for 11:30 before I pulled her out of that club. She's stupid drunk and was dirty dancing at just anyone. She already wasn't in her right mind when we got out of the club because she was screaming, I hate you, Chase, every step she makes. When we got into the car, she started crying and telling me her sentiments about Chase and his new girlfriend. I wonder if she remembers any of that. When I dropped her off her apartment, I helped her change into a more comfortable clothes even though she's so stubborn. She really shouldn't go out and drink alone. Thank you for last night though, she told me. I wasn't in the best mood but thank you for sticking with me. I looked at her through the mirror in front of us and smiled. You're my best friend, I replied to her. Of course, I will always be there for you. She smiled widely and nodded. But then, her eyes still looked so sad even with her smoky eyeshadow. Thank you, Q. I smiled and just nodded. I'll probably talk to her once she's better. She's always there, supporting me so I want to be there for her too. She's always cheering for me and I want to show her that I am always here for her. Days went by and Marie was normal. She didn't break down anymore. She never asked for a night out again but they drank at Berkshire last week. According to Lyndon, Marie was not stupid drunk though, so she was good. Are you all set for your tour? Marie asked me when we're eating at the cafe of the dance studio. I nodded. I've packed my bags last night. And Ivan? She raised her brow. I smiled. He's coming, I confirmed. He's so excited. Marie gave me a meaningful look. I widened my eyes and remembered what we've talked about the last time we talked about Ivan and I. Maybe this is a good time, she said suggestively. I rolled my eyes. I don't know what you're talking about, I replied, feigning innocence. She chuckled and shook her head. Oh, come on, Cassandra, I sighed. I opened it to Ivan but he dismissed me. He said he wanted to marry me a virgin and I respected him more with that. It only means that he's serious about us. Ivan's not like that, I told her. She shook her head and focused on her phone. We continued eating until I heard her gasp. She looked at me, alarmed and seemingly in panic, and kept her phone under the table. I narrowed my eyes at her because she just acted weirdly. What? I asked her. She gulped and shook her head but I can see how her eyes are shaking while she's looking at me. She bit her lip tightly and continued to shake her head. Nothing, she exclaimed, overreacting. I narrowed my eyes at her even more and gotten extremely curious. I grabbed her arm but she stood up and shook her head. Nothing, she insisted. But it is clear that it is not nothing. There is more. I also stood up and glared at her. What's the problem? I asked her, already getting frustrated that she's looking at me in horror. She pursed her lip in a thin line. We exchanged intense stares for a few moments before she gave up. She sighed and sat down. She looked conflicted though. I also have a heavy sigh before sitting down. What's wrong? I asked her. She looked at me carefully before giving me her phone. I don't know what's happening, but this popped up to the news headlines for showbiz. Showbiz? My heart suddenly started being heavy as I slowly looked at the news on the screen of her phone. My eyes widened and I suddenly felt the whole world crashing under my feet. My lips quivered as tears started to pull around my eyes as I read the headline of the news. Rising actor Evan Mendez is getting engaged to Harry's girlfriend Sophia Han. What the is this? I was fuming mad as my heart broke while Ivan wouldn't answer his phone. I've been calling him for about an hour now, but all I could hear is the operator's voice directing me to his voicemail. Damn it! My chest is heaving and I am breathing so hard. I don't think I have ever felt this betrayed before, but I want to break everything I see. I want to throw everything I am holding. I want to talk to Ivan and ask him to explain his side. I want him to tell me that it was nothing. I want him to tell me that it was all a ploy for his career. Because I will understand. I know it will hurt me big time, but I will understand. I shut my eyes forcefully. I saw the article. I read it and every picture of him and the Harris made my heart hurt. My heart is breaking into a million pieces while I scroll down, and it broke even more when I read how the people are praising how they look really good together. Damn it, he couldn't share me to the world because of this? Not because of his career? I called him nonstop even though I kept being directed to his voicemail. I called him until I can, but he didn't answer one call. I wonder if he's with her now. I slumped down the floor with my back on the wall. Tears streamed down my face while I remembered what the article said. Every word haunted me and I hated it. I trusted Ivan. He was the only man I trusted enough to give my heart. But now, it's all gone. All my trust came crashing down. All the hopes I had for the both of us are gone with the wind. Disappeared, vanished, evaporated. I almost jumped when my phone beeped. I immediately took it and deflated when I saw that it's not Ivan, it's Miller. Miller, are you okay? One sentence and just like that, I cried like a baby. I'm not okay. I know I am not, but I was trying to convince myself that everything is fine. I am fine, and now that someone asked me if I am okay, I feel that I am not. I admit that I am not. I curled up on the floor and clutched hard on my chest, feeling the excruciating pain brought about by the article. Why wouldn't Ivan answer his phone? Why wouldn't he explain? The news is all over the internet. They are trending all over the world. He would know that the news has gotten to me and it would hit me bad. He would know that I am already worried right now. He should have been here, hugging me and explaining his side. But none. He's not here. I am alone. Again. So alone. Until my phone rang and I answered it without looking at the caller ID. Hello, my voice broke. Cassandra. Miller's voice enveloped my ears. It was so soft and serious. Where are you? I pursed my lips tightly as I stared at the door. My eyes are tired of crying, but the tears are still falling. I heard Miller's deep sigh. Baby, I'm outside your door, he said in a whisper. Open up, please. I wanna check on you. And on cue, I heard a series of knocks. I didn't even bother asking how he got my apartment number. By now, I already know that Miller can probably do anything he wants because he has the money and the connections to access anything he wants to have access on. I stared at the door for a few seconds before deciding to open it up. I was still sullen when I saw Miller standing in front of me. He's holding his phone on one hand and a paper bag on the other. He's wearing a maroon sweatshirt and black pants. His eyes widened when he saw me. He then pursed his lips tightly before hanging up on his call. "Have you eaten?" he asked in a soft and careful voice. I shook my head and just opened the door wider for him to enter. I have no time and energy to argue with him right now. I heard the door closing and locking. "I got Chinese," he said. "I'm not hungry," I told him as I sat on my couch. Now that I think about it, I haven't spoken to him in weeks. He didn't bother to contact me. He went away like I told him. I looked at him and saw him looking around my place. "This is not as big as what you elite people own." He blinked and then looked at me. "I'm not judging your pad, Cassandra," he told me. He walked to me and sat beside me on the couch. I was so thankful that he left some space between us. "I came here to comfort you," he uttered as he looked at me softly. I know what was going about on social media. I looked at him and suddenly felt my heart swelling with his concern. I looked at him warmly. I sighed and looked away. "You don't have to," I replied. I heard him sigh. "But I want to," he said. I shut my eyes and sighed. I have no energy to fight with him now, so I let him do whatever he wants. He went to the kitchen. I think he prepared the food he brought because I could the clicking of the plates and the utensils. After a few moments, I saw him coming back on the living room with two plates on his hands. He looked so serious as he placed the food on the center table. He brought xiaolongbao and Chinese fried rice. He went back to the kitchen and came back with orange chicken and sweet and sour pork. He smiled and handed me a plate with spoon and fork. "What do you want?" he asked me. I sighed and shook my head, but instead of just letting it be, he put orange chicken and sweet and sour pork on my plate. I looked at him and saw him seriously putting rice on my plate. I frowned. Chinese is Evan's favorite. It's because of him that I started to love Chinese food too. And because of that, all this only reminded me of Ivan and the pain he caused me. I wanted to tell Miller that, but I can see that he's trying his best to make me feel better. I don't even know why he's doing this, but I somehow appreciate his effort. I shouldn't, right? I know I shouldn't appreciate anything from him, but with the state of my heart right now, I'll get every comfort I could get. And I couldn't reach Ivan. It just makes everything worse. "This is your favorite?" he asked me when he started eating while I just stared at the food. I looked at him and saw him staring at me intently with eyes void of any emotion. "No, this is Ivan's favorite," I told him honestly. He pursed his lips in a thin line as his brows furrowed. He took a deep breath. "I'm sorry," he said softly and looked away. Guilt is written in his face, so I chuckled lowly, trying to ease up the atmosphere. "Nah, it's okay. It's good food," I said as I took one piece of the sweet and sour pork and ate it. "I shouldn't be eating all this, though. I have a tour coming up." I tried to laugh and that made him look at me again. "I need to stay away from carbs as much as I can." He stared at me, watching me chew. "Where?" I sighed. "Just around America," I replied. "When?" he probed. I looked at him. "Next week." He narrowed his eyes and then nodded. "What date?" he asked. Now I narrowed my eyes at him, eyeing him suspiciously. "Why are you so curious?" I asked. He raised his brow at me. "So I'd know what meeting to cancel," he replied naturally. I bit my lip and looked at my food. he'd cancel his meetings to watch me? I don't think he would. I hope he wouldn't. I watch all your performances, Cassandra, he said in an unprecedented confession. I raised my head and looked at him. What? I asked, confused at what he meant. He smiled weakly. I said, I always watch your performance. My jaw dropped at his revelation. Even in the 2 years? I asked, uncertain and nervous because my heart is already beating so fast. He nodded. Yeah, he said before taking in a piece of the pork. My lips remained parted as I watched him chew slowly. His lips moved so sensual even with only chewing that my mind traveled to the time I kissed him. I remember the time he moved his lips against mine and made me feel all the butterflies in my stomach. Those lips. Cassandra, Miller called me and I was immediately brought back from my thoughts. Are you okay? He asked. I blinked several times. What? Yeah, yes, of course, I replied before taking a Xiaolong bow and putting the whole thing inside my mouth. I am so stupid. So stupid. Miller left at midnight because I told him that I was fine. Ivan still hasn't called but I know that I am alright now. I feel better after being with Miller. He never asked me about Ivan and the issue and I think I needed that diversion. I woke up the next morning feeling lonely. I immediately checked my phone if Ivan texted or called and saw a message from him. Ivan, babe, that was it. He didn't say anything more. It was sent at 3 in the morning. I sighed and typed in a reply. Me, we need to talk. I need to know that whole truth and I'm glad that he replied, Ivan, can we meet in my unit? I pursed my lips in a thin line before typing a response. Me, okay, I'll be there in 30. I didn't expect a reply from him again. I just went to the bathroom and prepared for our confrontation. I didn't bother looking better. I was too excited to see him and hear his side. In the back of my mind, I already have an expectation of our how conversation should go. I already have it rehearsed inside my head. I already am expecting him to tell me that everything is nothing and that it was just a ploy for his career. And this is what I wanted for my mind to be at ease. But in my heart, I am already breaking and falling apart. I drove with utmost caution because I can't afford any delays. So far, this is the first time that Ivan and I are on the verge of breaking up. The last time I fought with him is when a woman, his manager, answered his phone 2 years ago. We were happy together ever since. I arrived at his residential building in 15 minutes. I didn't bother greeting anyone else and just went straight to the elevator and clicked the 54th floor when his unit is at. When I reached the right floor, I continuously knocked on the door until he opened it. Ivan was only wearing his white Hanes and boxers when he opened the door. His hair is disheveled as he looked at me guiltily. Fuck, Ivan, why are you staring at me like that? Do you want to eat? He asked me. I gave him a sharp look. My lips are pursed and I am already gritting my teeth. I didn't come here to eat. He pressed his lips together as he looked at me. His eyes stared at me with sadness and guilt written all over his face. Cassandra, he said softly as if begging me to stop whatever I was intending to do. I narrowed my eyes at him. I read about the news. Is it true? I asked with no intention on beating around the bush. Ivan didn't speak and just looked down, and by the look of it, I already knew. And now, I have to do it. I have to do this. Anger filled my system and my eyes already saw red even without these words of confirmation. With the way he couldn't look straight at me. I already know. Why? I yelled at him, unable to control my emotions anymore. Why did you not tell me you're getting engaged to some kind of Asian mafia daughter? He looked so alarmed and looked at me with wide eyes. Cassandra, she's not from a family of mafia. He yelled back at me. I threw the bag I was holding at him and he cursed out loud when it hit his chest. What the f— I glared at him, but deep me I was shattering inside. He's been dating someone else while we were still in a relationship. He cheated on me and I don't know if I can even handle this pain in my chest. How long, huh? How long have you been banging her behind my back? I snarled as I got whatever I could grab and throw it again at him. Cassandra! He angrily yelled at me. I narrowed my eyes at him as I panted to slightly calm my system. You do not have a right to shout at me like that, Ivan. You cheated on me? He shut his eyes and pinched the bridge of his nose. He set his eyes on me again, this time looking so tired of this conversation, so tired of me. I'm sorry, he said in a calm voice. I watched him look so unsure of what he's going to tell me next. My heart broke at the sight of him. Seeing him feel like this is a difficult situation is definitely killing me softly. A million questions have crossed my mind. Why would he look at someone else? Why would he kiss someone else? Where have I gone wrong? What do I lack? Do you still love me? I asked him in a whisper as I prayed so hard to hear what I wanted to hear. He looked away and that was what I needed to know what his answer is. If he still loves me, he would have said it straight to my face. Seeing him having hesitant to respond is enough for me to know that he doesn't love me anymore. I clenched my fist tightly as I walked to him. His eyes widened when he saw me in front of him. Kisan, I didn't let him finish. I slapped him as hard as I could before walking out of the room. What an ashul. I was early in the bar, and even before I got here, I was already drinking at home. I just decided I needed to come here so I would be entertained. Miller and Marie have been texting me but I was in no mood to tell anyone what happened today. I wanted to get drunk. I wanted to forget. One shot of tequila sunrise, I told the bartender because that's the first thing I saw on the menu. I didn't want to think anymore. I just wanted to drink and have fun. I heard a woman giggle beside me but I didn't bother looking at her. She's talking to the bartender like she's one of their most prized customers. She was friendly and was laughing heartily as she took the seat beside me. I sighed and waited for my drink to be served, and in silence, I can't help but think of all the possibilities why Ivan did this to me. He must have thought that I wasn't good enough, because if I was, would he do this to me? Would he leave me for someone richer? I heaved a deep sigh. What's your type in men? The woman asked me. I looked at her and saw her smiling at me. But then, I was weirded out by her smile and her sudden question. Does she ask random questions to strangers? I shrugged. The bartender handed me my drink. I don't know. Not Ivan, I guess. I chuckled sadly before gulping the whole drink down. The girl raised her brow at me. Ivan? Who's Ivan? She asked. Ivan Mendez, I replied nonchalantly. God, this is frustrating. I hope she leaves me alone. I don't want to talk about Ivan right now. The girl gasped beside me. Oh my gosh, the rising actor? She asked before moving seats to be able to sit beside me. I nodded and ordered another drink. Did you date him? She asked. I shrugged. My God, is he a good kisser? She asked in a very interested tone. I gave her a look. Why would I tell you? I don't even know you. She laughed at my reaction. I am Kiana Parsh, she said as she held out her hand for me to shake. Cassandra Collins, I told her before taking her hand. She chuckled. Now you know me, she trailed. Tell me if Ivan Mendez case is good. I sighed and looked at the bartender who is giving me my next round of drinks. He shrugged at me before smiling. Doesn't matter that he's a good kisser. He's an ashul, I replied before gulping another shot. He's a cheating ashul. Kiana looked at me and laughed. Are you a victim of that man? She asked in a playful tone. I rolled my eyes. Why do you care? I asked. She laughed at me like she's unbothered that I am already growing annoyed of her. I'm his cousin Cassandra, Kiana Mendez Parsh. I raised my brow at her. You're an enemy, I said as I started to walk away. But Kiana took my hand and prevented me from leaving. I looked back at her and she's staring at me while shaking her head. I'm not an enemy. As a matter of fact, I am willing to be your friend, she offered. I yanked my hand from her grip and smirked. I don't need another Mendez in my life, I uttered. Even if I tell you everything that's happening in his engaged life? She asked me. I narrowed my eyes at her. Why would you do that? I asked back. She's Ivan's cousin. She should have his back, but why does it feel like the opposite? She grinned widely. Because I want to make his life miserable, she replied with a voice laced with evil. I narrowed my eyes at her. What? I chuckled weakly. I don't want to be an instrument of your revenge, I told her. In fact, I don't want anything to do with Ivan again. He's dead to me. Kiana took a card from her wallet and handed it to me. Here, she said, call me and I'll be your spy on that ashul. She smirked before heading to the dance floor. I followed her with my gaze. Weird, I said, but I kept the card and I stayed. At least, she's gone now. I can continue to drink until I almost passed out. I don't know how much I had drunken, but I was hearing the bartender telling me to stop and to wake up. A warm hand went to my waist. I tried to raise my head, but I am so dizzy to move. Baby, a familiar voice called me. Let's get you home, he whispered. Miller? I slurred as I felt him positioning me to carry. Miller, I repeated as I smelled his familiar scent. Yes, I'm here. I'll get you home, he whispered as I felt him walking out of the bar with me in his arms, carrying me bridal style. Miller, I called him again when I felt him putting me down on a car seat. I willed myself to open my eyes and saw him blurrily. But even then, I still see his eyes fully twinkling. His jaw is clenched and I chuckled. I am drunk, alright. Baby, we need to get you home first, he told me as I wrapped my arms around his neck and pulled his face closer to me. Kiss me, I whispered. Miller clenched his jaw and narrowed his eyes at me. I have a feeling that he wouldn't, but I leaned closer and gave him a small peek. Please, I whispered against his lips. He stared at me for a few moments before letting out a deep curse and crushing his lips on mine. He kissed me hard and deep until I couldn't find my sanity anymore. Yes, this is what I need now. Miller's lips are moving expertly against mine. He pushed my body on the seat of the car as he cupped my face and made me even dizzier. I gladly welcomed his tongue inside my mouth as he moaned against the kiss. He bit my lower lip and broke the kiss before it would go somewhere else. You need to go home, he whispered against my lips as his forehead is leaning on me. I pursed my lips in a thin line. I want you to make me forget, I whispered back. Miller shifted and looked at me with narrowed eyes. The alcohol has intoxicated me fully because now I can look at his eyes even without hesitation. I can see how he's holding back right now as his eyes screamed of control, but I didn't care. "I don't wanna go home," I whispered as I touched his face. His jaw immediately clenched at my touch. His stare already hardened. "Cassandra," he uttered in a warning voice. "Baby." He sounded like he's begging for me to not do this. I reached for his lips and kissed him quickly. "Please?" I almost couldn't recognize my voice because I sounded so needy. "Don't bring me home." He pursed his lips in a thin line after muttering a curse. "Cassandra," he uttered before crushing his lips on mine again. And this time, I felt like something was unleashed because unlike his controlled kisses moments ago, he's hungrier now. He's kissing me without any inhibition. He's kissing me like he really wants me now. He swiped his tongue on my lower lip before biting it, making me moan against his mouth. Miller." He placed his hand on my nape and pulled my face closer to him, kissing me even deeper. He tilted his head to the side and sucked on my lower lip. My hands are on his chest, fested and pulling him closer to me. I am intoxicated. I am drunk, but I am mostly aware that I have not felt anything like this before. I have never felt the surging lust that I am feeling now. I want pleasure. I want to be pleasured. And only Miller can do that on me now. His kisses then traveled to my jaw, down my neck. "You should be wearing more clothes," he whispered as I felt him cup my breast and kneaded it amidst my clothes. I arched my back and moaned his name. "Miller," I gasped when he continued to massage my breast. He ran his nose down my neck and it made me close my eyes with pleasure. He kissed my neck and sucked on my collarbone. I combed his hair with my fingers as he explored my neck down the valley of my breast. "Miller," I moaned when I felt his lips on my breast. His expert hands brought my clothes down, exposing my breast in front of him. He immediately latched on my while his other hand played with my other. I moaned out loud when I felt him sucking on my nip. My fingers on his hair made me pull his face closer to me because I felt the need to do so. "Oh my God," I exclaimed when I felt him biting my. His hands went down my thighs and caressed them softly while his mouth is still busy with my other. He caressed my inner thigh, making me gasp and moan in anticipation. He then went to my neck and to my ear, kissing it softly. "Baby, let's go somewhere else, please," he whispered. I whimpered because he touched my center while he showered me with feather kisses. "Miller," I gasped and I felt him rub my center. "Wet," he whispered before kissing my lips. I bit my lower lip hard as my mind concentrated on the movement of his fingers on my center. He's rubbing it repeatedly that sends heat to run to my system. He inserted a finger inside that made him touch my heated flesh. He flicked his finger on my center that made me lose my mind. "We shouldn't be here," he whispered, before taking his hands off me and fastening the seatbelt around me. "Where are we going?" I asked, slightly disappointed that he stopped touching me. He planted a kiss on my forehead. "My place," he replied before closing my door and running to the driver's seat. I didn't even know how long the ride was because I was only back on my senses when Miller already pushed me to the wall, carrying me so I could straddle him. My hands are wrapped around his neck as he kisses me hard and deep against the wall. He pushed his tongue inside my mouth, seeking dominance when I gladly gave to him. I moaned against him and it made him thrust against me. I gasped because I realized that I could feel him directly on my center. His hard shaft is brushing against my center, which sent me moaning and losing my mind. "I wanna be inside you," he whispered as he rubbed himself against me. I moaned and kissed him again. "Please," I replied, and there I felt him carrying me across the room while kissing me deeply. I couldn't pay attention to the surrounding because I was so drunk with his kisses. He was kissing me senseless until I felt the softness of the bed on my back. Miller parted my legs and crouched to kiss my neck while his fingers touched my heated core. I didn't even realize that he already took my underwear off. His fingers rubbed my clit and I was already moaning so loud. He reached for my breast before expertly removing my top and my brassiere. I looked at his eyes and saw him looking at me while licking his lower lip. "Miller," I slurred as he suddenly crouched to capture mine. I arched my back the moment I felt he sucking me while playing with the other. He's doing a lot of things for me that I don't even know where to focus. His mouth on my His fingers pinching my other pebble tip. His fingers on my slick folds. Everything. He's everywhere and I couldn't help but call his name over and over again. "Soft dripping," he whispered as he slowly inserted his finger inside my slick hole. My eyes widened and I gasped out loud. "Oh I couldn't help but curse when I felt him thrusting his finger in and out of me. "You like that?" he asked in a raspy voice. I whimpered and met his thrust instead of answering him. "I want more. I want more and I am ready for more. Baby, you're so beautiful," he told me as he stared at my body. He lowered his gaze down and I blushed when I realized that he's staring at my center. He slowly crouched down and my eyes widened when I realized what he's going to do. "Miller!" My words were cut when I felt his tongue on my core. He flicked his tongue horizontally, making me scream in pleasure. He continued to French kiss my clit until I could feel a building sensation in my gut. Butterflies are wild in my stomach as I felt myself releasing on his mouth. "Ah, Miller mumbled as he licked me clean. He stood up and removed his clothes before hovering on top of me again, but his long, hard shaft didn't escape my vision. "He's so huge." He kissed me thoroughly as he parted my legs wide. He kissed my jaw and my earlobe. "Are you ready?" he asked me as I felt the tip of his shaft on my entrance. I moaned. He bit my earlobe. "Don't worry, I'll be gentle," he assured me as he inched inside me slowly. I shut my eyes tight as I felt a searing pain on my center. "Shh," I muttered as tears formed at the side of my eyes. I heard a loud curse from Miller. "You're a virgin?" he asked in a shock and anger. I pursed my lips in a thin line as I took the pain in. Miller cursed once more before kissing me on the lips. He kissed me hungrily, making me forget the pain I was feeling on my center. He massaged my breast and rubbed my clit while his mouth kissed me like it was the only thing that kept him living. "Oh my God!" I exclaimed as I felt him hold inside me. He filled me the brim and I feel so full with him. I bit my lip and started to grin under him, but he held my waist and stilled me. "Don't move yet, Cassandra," he scolded me, but then I wanted to move now. The pain is gone and all that's left is anticipation. "Miller," I begged him and caressed his ripped arms. "Move, please," I told him. He let out a feral growl before doing what I told him. He thrusted in and out of me slowly first before he picked up his pace. I groaned and met his thrust, encouraging him to even do me faster. I could feel butterflies in my gut. another familiar sensation building while he thrust himself in and out of me. I watched Miller and saw his jaw tightly clenched as he slammed harder and deeper that I could even hear the bed smashing against the wall. I could hear the bed cracking with the impact of his plunges. "Oh my gosh, Miller, I'm coming," I whispered and gasped, and I can't even recognize my own voice with the way I uttered those words. Beads of sweat covered my forehead as I met his thrust. Miller's lips are tightly pursed as he concentrated on plunging in and out of me. "Oh my God!" I screamed when I felt the sensation taking over my whole system. I heard Miller curse before he convulsed and collapsed on top of me while we both released inside my womb. "Good morning." Miller's raspy voice welcomed me. I rubbed my eyes and cursed out loud when images from last night flashed on my mind. "Cassandra, what a stupid move." I immediately sat up and looked at myself. I am wearing Miller's clothes. Miller sat beside me and wrapped his arms around me. He rested his chin on my shoulder while he inhaled my scent. "Damn, you smell like me and I like it," he whispered. Slightly tickled, I moved away from him. I looked at him and saw him staring at me with narrowed, confused eyes. He frowned at me, probably realizing what I am feeling right now. "You're regretting it," he told me, slightly accusing. I pressed my lips together. "I was drunk." "You were calling my name," Miller insisted. "You were moaning and begging me to take you. Damn it." I swallowed hard and looked away. "It never should have happened." I willed myself to utter the words seriously, even though I still feel weak and expended. Miller heaved a heavy sigh. "So, it was a mistake for you?" he asked, his voice cracking. I shut my eyes tightly. "Yes." I heard another heavy sigh. "I was your first." "Doesn't matter." "Really?" I sighed, already getting fed up with this. "Look, I'm sorry. I have an idea that I am the one who pushed you to do this, but I'm just drunk." "You have an idea?" he asked me with a weak laugh, in disbelief. He shook his head and then started laughing hysterically. "You have an idea?" I narrowed my eyes at him, watching him laugh in frustration. He stopped laughing and looked at me with a serious expression. "Do you have plans on getting back together with your asshole of an ex-boyfriend?" His voice was void of any humor. His eyes pierced through me like he has the intention of melting me with his gaze. I was silent because, to be honest, I don't know what to reply to him. Do I want Ivan back? No. Do I still love him? Yes. Having sex with Miller doesn't erase that fact. And besides, I was so stupid drunk that I don't even know what I was doing. I might have pushed him to the limit, but that's only because I was out of my mind. My sanity was out somewhere. I don't even know, and until now, I am still not sane. "Answer me, Cassandra," Miller said authoritatively. I looked at him and sighed. I pursed my lips in a thin line. "I am not. I don't want to get back with him," I trailed, "but I want to have my revenge. I want to show him that I can live better without him." Miller narrowed his eyes at me. "Then, let me help you," he offered. "I will help you." I confusedly stared at him. "What?" I asked, dumbfounded and disbelieving. Miller pressed his lips together. "I will help you," he started. "I'll pretend to be your boyfriend. I'll make him pay for everything he did to you." "Miller," I told him in a warning as I shook my head. "No, I don't want to use you for this. This is my personal battle with Ivan." He took a deep breath. "But I'm really going." I shook my head and that shut him up. "I don't want your help or anyone else." His lips parted. He stared at me for a few moments before nodding. "Fine," I sighed, "and I don't want to see you." "Cassandra." I shook my head. "What happened last night was nothing to me. I was just drunk, so let's leave it like that," I said as I stood up and looked for my clothes. I stopped and looked at Miller again, who's watching me with a confused face. "Thanks for last night." And then I went to change before I left. "Wow, it's all over the news," Mary told me when she saw me a few days after. "I didn't go to practice for days because I don't feel like it. But the good thing is I was able to think better. I was able to get myself together. And now I am here. I have not fully recovered, but I am feeling better. And I can handle a conversation with Ivan in it. He never even tried to reach out to me. He was just gone in my life. Now his engagement is all over the news. He's going to get engaged to an Asian heiress, Sophiahan. She's pretty and elegant. Her features are all Asian. No one could deny that. But I heard her speak and she's very fluent and she sounds so intelligent. Somehow, I am asking myself if that is what I lack. I didn't finish college because I am an orphan. I got out at the age of 18 and instead of looking for schools to attend to, I work hard to thrive. I looked at Marie and she immediately shut up about Ivan. She must have sensed that I am in no mood to talk about Ivan now. She walked to me and sighed. "Are you okay now?" she asked. "Miss Helenes told me we could postpone the tour if you're not." "It's okay, Marie. I'm okay." I smiled. "I don't want to postpone the tour. People already have bought their tickets." Marie looked at me gently before smiling sadly. "We just want you to take all the time you need." I smiled and shook my head. "I'm fine," I said, "but thank you. Right now, I'm just happy that I have Marie with me. She always went to my place and buy me food because I won't eat if she won't." For the first time in my life since my parents died, I felt so down. My life hasn't been a happy one, but with Ivan, it was. I felt like I would be happy again, but I was wrong. I continued practicing my routine and willed myself to do better. I need to preoccupy myself with the things that matter. I shouldn't think about the people who make me sad. If I want to be happy, I should start with me. Should start with being happy with myself because my happiness should come from me and not from someone else. Eventually, weeks passed and I was able to complete my tour with no complications. I was happy and overwhelmed that a lot of people joined the tour. It was fun and that has become my goal. I want to tour again. I want to meet more people. I want to perform in front of a lot of people. And that's what I'm going to work hard for now. "Are you going home?" Mary asked me. We're walking towards the exit of the studio after a long day and teaching children ballet. I looked at her and nodded. "I wanna sleep," I replied. She frowned, somehow disappointed. "Why?" I asked. "Do you wanna go somewhere else?" She sighed. "Lyndon is asking if we can drink and chill tonight." I gave her a meaningful look. These days, she's been spending a lot of time with Lyndon and she seemed so fond of him. While we were on tour, she FaceTimes him every night and now he's always asking her out. She rolled her eyes at me, already knowing what my stare means. "Come on," she insisted. "I promise to get you a good guy tonight." I laughed. Did she really think I need a man tonight? I'm fine now. I am starting to accept that Ivan is gone and I need to move on with my life. He's been a big part in my life, but it doesn't mean that every big part should stay. There are people that come in your life who are just meant to live, and Ivan is that person for me. Marie's puppy eyes made me sigh and nod at her. Fine, let's go. I beamed and she shrieked in joy. I almost cursed when I realized where we're headed. That same bar. Marie looked at me. She's sitting on the front seat while Lyndon is driving. Are you okay? She asked me. I took a deep breath and nodded before looking at the buildings outside. I shut my eyes and tried to calm myself. Where could he be? What could he be doing? I willed myself to not think about him. That night, that night was a mistake. That night shouldn't have happened. But who am I kidding? I gave him my virginity. I have been with Ivan for years but he never got it. But Miller, it was just one night and I entrusted my whole self to him. I was stupid drunk. I didn't know what I was doing but I couldn't help but think about the way his lips taste, the way his hands touched me, the way he took me. Aside from Ivan, it was one thing that I had to move on from. I have to forget about it. I have to stop thinking about it because it's nothing. It already came from me. It's just nothing. Lyndon, Marie, and I all walked in the jam-packed bar. People were screaming and dancing into a remix version of a chart topper while we headed to a booth. Okay, at least we have a booth now. Lyndon sat beside Marie while I sat across them. He called for a waiter and ordered drinks. I don't have an idea what drinks they are but I trust Lyndon so I just sat there and waited for our drinks to be served. Marie and Lyndon are talking about something when my eyes stopped at a table. The familiar furrowed brows made me realize that I am not just seeing things. My system seemed to have stopped. His eyes went to my direction and slightly widened in shock. I looked away quickly to control my beating heart. What? I concentrated on sustaining a conversation with Lyndon and Marie but I am fully aware that Miller is looking at me from his table. Along with him are the three other Mormon. They are all wearing corporate attires and are not really entertaining women, although I know that the women have been eyeing their table. Marie saw my uneasiness and nodded at me. Are you okay? I smiled weakly and nodded. I know that she's going to ponder on but thank God that the drinks have been served. I easily gulped down one shot. To Lyndon and Mary's surprise, they looked at me with suspicious and curious eyes. I ignored them and just gulped another drink down. You seem thirsty, Lyndon chimed in a low chuckle. Mary tilted her head to the side. She's looking at me, scrutinizing my every move, so I decided to stand up and walk over to the dance floor. She narrowed her eyes at me. Where are you going? Dance, I replied simply and then headed to the crowded dance floor. I made my way to the center of the dance floor and danced to the beat of the music playing. Everyone was having a good time and I realized that this is only the first time that I am going to dance with people. I have no boyfriend now, so no one would get jealous. It was not long though until I felt someone grinding behind me. The scent I smelled told me that it's a man. Normally, I would shove him off but not today. I felt his hot breath on my neck until I felt his lips on my skin. You're so hot, he whispered in a raspy voice that sent shivers down my spine. I gulped hard and stilled on my place. The music was upbeat but I couldn't find the rhythm to dance anymore. Shivers ran through my spine as I felt the man hold me by the waist, pulling me closer so my back could touch his chest. My eyes trembled and my heartbeat is doubling in speed. I miss you, he whispered, and my eyes widened. Now, I finally understand why I am feeling like this. Now, I finally understand why my body is reacting like this. It's Miller. I spun and faced him, but I was only greeted by his kiss. He cupped my face and kissed me thoroughly while we're in the middle of the dancing people. He swiped his tongue on my lower lip before sucking it like it's his favorite candy. I started to respond to him, but I was surprised when he stopped kissing me and just caressed my face. His eyes captured mine, and immediately I saw how his eyes twinkled with the lights of the room. His eyes mirrored 1,000 of emotions. He pursed his lips in a thin line. "Are you fine now?" he asked me. I sighed and shrugged. "I don't know," I replied. He nodded and then leaned his forehead on mine. I miss you," he whispered. And now, images of when he told me he missed me too, when we were in Canada, flashed back in my mind. My heart swelled at his words. I know he's always been that man who I will never have, but every time he tells me he misses me, I feel happy. It's crazy because even when I was with Ivan before, I feel this way towards Miller. Did it start when I saw him in the restaurant? Or when he cornered me at Berkshire? Or when he turned away from me in Toronto? Or when he saw me in this bar when he first kissed me? This is ridiculous because now I know that I missed him too. "It's so hard to watch you from afar," he said in a controlled voice. My lips parted as I looked at him in surprise. Did you?" I couldn't even finish my sentence because amidst all the music, I could hear the loud beating of my heart. He pursed his lips in a thin line and nodded. "I did," he replied, understanding my unfinished question. "I watched you in your tour. You were so great. Congratulations," he whispered as he kissed my temple. I don't know why, but the moment his lips touched my skin, tears fell from my eyes. His eyes widened when he saw my tears, but even before he could say something, I pulled his face close to mine and kissed him hard. I can sense that he's contemplating because his lips aren't moving against mine. I smirked and kissed him deeply, mimicking the way he kisses me. I combed my fingers through his hair and slightly grinded my body onto his while we kissed deeply in the middle of the dance floor. Not long, he started responding with equally fairy kisses. He held my waist before his hands roamed my back, caressing it softly and sensually. He plunged his tongue inside my mouth, making me moan through the kiss. I felt him smirking, so I sucked onto his lower lip. He moaned before trying to stop me. I looked at him, needy and wanting for pleasure. "Let's go out," I said in a raspy voice, and just like that, he pulled me and led me towards his car where we continued our hot kisses. His hands are touching everywhere while his lips owned me with dominance. "Baby, we need to get to the hotel first," Miller whispered through the broken kisses. I wanted to laugh at him. His hands are already roaming inside my dress and he tells me he wants to go to a hotel? Funny. I moaned when he bit my lower lip. My hands are already on the buttons of his shirt, slowly unbuttoning them so I could feel him skin to skin. "Baby," he moaned when my palms touched his chest. "Shh," he mumbled before pushing a button on the side, making his chair move back. He carried me on his lap and started kissing my jaw down to my neck. He reached for the zipper behind my dress and pulled it down quickly, making my dress fall off my body. With another quick movement of his fingers, he already unclasped my bra. "Miller," I gasped when I felt his mouth covering my I looked at him and saw him latching on my peak with his eyes closed. That image of him made me even more turned on. I held onto his head and combed his hair with my fingers, slightly pulling him closer as well. He did the same thing to my other breast, making me arch my back and grinned against him. I can already feel his turned on member directly under me. I was slowly grinding against it because it gave me a different but pleasant sensation. His fingers suddenly went to my core, inserting them inside my panties. "Wet," he whispered. "Please," I begged as he continued to suck on my nipples. "Please, Miller." He bit my nipples and inserted a finger inside my slick core while his thumb rubbed my clit. "Feel better, baby?" he asked with a voice laced with lust. My throat went dry when I felt his finger moving in and out of me. I bit my lip hard and joined his movement. My hands are on his face and my forehead is on his while I keep moaning. "I want you," I whispered. Miller's eyes mirrored pleasure and carnal desire before he unbuckled his belt, unbuttoned and unzipped his pants, and finally pulling it down with his boxers. His proud glory sprang free. "You want this, Cassandra?" he asked me. I nodded eagerly. "Yes," I replied in a cracked voice. He clenched his jaw before ripping my panties apart and throwing it on the shotgun seat. "Shh," I mumbled, but I wasn't given a chance to complain about my torn panties because he already pushed his member inside me. "Ah!" His hands are on my waist, trying to hold me still while he moved in and out of me. I feel so full with him inside me. I crouched down and kissed him hard while he continued to move in and out of me. "Miller," I moaned through the kisses. Faster." His jaw clenched and his gaze darkened before laying me back. My back is on the steering wheel as he thrusted harder and faster while his thumb flicked my clit. My hands are on the dashboard as I watch his intense stare at my core. "Miller," I gasped when I felt the building sensation in my gut. I met his thrust just so I could reach it as soon as possible. I can see him sweating hard as he pushed and pulled in and out of me. "I'm coming," I screamed. He continued to slide in and out of me until I felt him explode inside of me. He was panting and sweaty when he pulled me to him. He kissed my forehead. "One of the best we had," he whispered with a raspy voice. I chuckled weakly. "Silly, this is only the second time," I corrected him. He smirked and kissed my cheek. "I mean, all are will be the best for me," he whispered, and I smiled widely before I fell asleep. "Where have you been last night?" Marie screamed at me when I arrived at the studio. I swallowed hard and looked down. I just remembered that I didn't even text them my whereabouts. "I'm sorry. Did you know who texted me to tell you you're safe?" Compton. Miller Compton," she said hysterically. "Are you dating him?" Okay, so Miller did the honors and texted my friend. I wonder if he texted her when he took me to his penthouse or while we were still in the car. I had passed out and I can't remember anything after our mind-blowing cars. "Cassandra," Mary caught my attention. She narrowed her eyes at me like she's scolding me. "Are you dating Miller Compton?" I bit my lower lip. "I'm not," I replied. "I'm not dating Miller. He's only my damn it buddy. Although I don't know if we're buddies, but we've twice." She gave me a suspicious look. "Really?" she asked. I nodded. "Yes." She looked at me angrily. Good, because I don't want you jumping to a relationship too fast, she explained. And besides, we both know the reputation of Mr. Compton. He's a man. He likes to play games. She sounded so serious as she described Miller like I don't know it all. I know that, I told her. She raised her brow and gave me a sharp look. He's not yet engaged to someone now, but we all know how the elite people plan their children's weddings. She paused and I looked at her with curious eyes. She leaned closer to me. They fixed their children's wedding partners to expand their business. So don't let him fool you. He's going to be engaged sooner or later. Just wait and see. I bit my lower lip and sighed as I watched Marie go back to her practice. I also did, even with a confused brain. Miss Helenes told me that it's okay to skip practice now because I have finished a tour and I need rest. But I don't want to rest. I want to be preoccupied. I want to be busy all the time. It helps me forget. It was lunchtime when I got to my phone and saw several messages from Miller. Miller. Have you arrived at the studio safely? Miller. Good morning. By the way, I have a few meetings today. Miller. You must be busy. Text me if you can. Miller. Are you free for dinner? I pursed my lips in a thin line and sat on the floor. He didn't talk about us this morning when he dropped me home, but he was touchy. He kept touching my hand and my back. He kissed me goodbye, but we never talked about what our relationship is. And it makes me think about my conversation with Marie. He's probably playing now and it's what I need. I don't want to be in a serious relationship now. I want to have fun and forget because I don't want to be hurt again. The emotional trauma Ivan did to me is way beyond what I could imagine. Actually, I feel like it changed my view on relationships. I sighed and typed in a reply, Me, I'm going to the OB today. I am bothered because we had unprotected. I never saw him wear condom. I know he didn't, and it's been bothering me since this morning. Miller. Why? I frowned at his message. Me. To ask for a contraceptive prescription. Miller. Do you need that? I pursed my lips in a thin line and was about to type in a reply when another message from him came on. Miller. What time? I'll come with you. I narrowed my eyes at his message. Me. You have a meeting. I pursed my lips. Miller. It's okay. What time? Is he going to cancel another meeting for me? He's been doing that for my shows. I remember that because it's what he told me before. Me. Now, it's lunchtime so I could go. I want to come back here and practice some more so I have to go now. I have been eyeing this clinic for a few days now and knew that they don't have a lunch break so it's good to go now. Miller. I'll go with you. Wait for me in 10 minutes. I shrugged. 10 minutes? I shook my head. I know where his office is less than an hour away from here. So 10 minutes? I doubt. I went and changed into comfortable clothes and was about to go out when Marie saw me. Where are you going? Lunch out? She asked. I nodded. I have an appointment. She raised her brow at me. Really? She asked suspiciously. I pursed my lip and maintained a straight face. I nodded. Yes, I replied and started to walk away when she held my wrist. I turned to her and saw that she's looking at me with narrowed and serious eyes. If you are going out with Miller, make sure to guard your heart, she said sternly. I have seen you broken, Cassandra. I don't want to see you in that state again. I sighed and nodded. Somehow, her words made me feel better about this setup with Miller. Marie is my closest friend, so I consider her opinion more than the rest. I will, Marie, I told her. She pursed her lips before nodding. Okay, she replied. Just call me if something happens, okay? I smiled and nodded. Thank you. Take care, she said, but I know that there's a different meaning from her words. I walked out and saw Miller waiting on the parking lot. He's leaning on his black Ferrari and somehow images of last night came to my mind. We've in that car. Like how? I can't even imagine. He smiled when he saw me and immediately walked towards me to kiss me. Hangover? He asked. I shook my head. I'm good, I replied. My eyes darted to his clothes. He's wearing a black coat with gray inner V-neck shirt. He really looks good even in smart casual. Well, I believe that he could wear a sock and it will still look good on him. Did you cancel your meeting? I asked, trying to remove silly thoughts in my head. He shook his head. Just delayed it, he replied. I frowned and he held my hand as we walked to his car. He opened the door for me and assisted me in before running towards the driver's side. I buckled my seatbelt while he started the engine. Where is your OB? He asked. I saw one a few blocks from here, I replied. I don't really have to go to the OB. He glanced at me with a raised brow. Yes, because you never had sex with your ex-boyfriend. I narrowed my eyes at him. I never needed to. Yeah, so is that why you've seduced me twice and we ended up, hmm? He asked in an amused tone. I scoffed at him. You were the one who was always kissing me like you don't have anything else to do. He laughed and shook his head. Yes, because it's what I feel. I wanna kiss you all the time. You can't blame me. I've watched you for years in the sidelines, Cassandra. All those times, I only want to hold you close and kiss you until you're satisfied. I gulped. I have never heard him tell me this before. And now that he is, butterflies are wild inside my gut. I have no idea how your ex-boyfriend kept you, he whispered in a husky voice as he turned to the block I was talking about. I sighed. To be honest, it's also what I have been thinking every night. Is that the reason why Ivan always told me he wants our first time to be after our wedding? Because he never really wanted to do it with me? Or because he's been doing different girls behind my back? I shook my head, trying to shake away the thoughts as well. Miller pulled over the OB/GYN clinic and saw several pregnant women coming out with their husbands. They are all happy as they made their way out of the clinic. I smiled at the view. It must really be a happy moment when you know that a baby is on the way. Someday, I want to have my babies too. I don't want to have an only child. I want at least two because it's hard to be an only child. When my parents died, I realized how hard and lonely it was to not have a brother or a sister. I sighed and stepped out of the car. Miller held my hand as we went inside the clinic. We were welcomed by the receptionist and asked us to fill up the forms before we headed to the area where they will take my vital signs. Miller was just there the whole time, watching me closely like he's going to lose me if he looked away. While we were waiting for my name to be called, We sat on the waiting area while he played with our intertwined fingers. "Cassandra Collins," the nurse called from one of the rooms. I stood up and Miller did too. We walked together and entered the room where a female doctor is waiting. She smiled at us warmly and asked us to sit on the chairs in front of her table. "I'm Dr. Priscilla George," she introduced, even though it is written on her table and on the door when we came in. "You are Cassandra?" I nodded. She smiled. "Your husband?" she asked, pertaining to Miller. My eyes widened. "Fiancé," Miller said, making me look at him weirdly. What is he talking about? I wanted to ask him but not here. He has the audacity to call himself my fiancé, huh? Dr. George smiled and then nodded. "So, what are you here for?" she asked. I told her my concern and she asked me several questions about my history. She noted them on my paper before she looked up and smiled. "I can give you a prescription for contraceptive pills, but I have to tell you a few side effects of the pill," she began. "You can experience migraines, messed up periods, nausea, and other mild side effects during the first few weeks of taking the pill." I nodded, totally understanding the risk I will take. "But that is not what's concerning me. Since you said your mother died from cervical cancer, using the pills can give you a higher chance to acquire that disease too." I narrowed my eyes at her and focused on her. "It increases the risk?" I asked. She nodded. "But it's not always the case. I just want to be brutally honest with you so you could watch out for your lifestyle," she said. "So I can use the pills? Is there any other way of contraception?" Miller butt in. Dr. George looked at him and nodded. "One of the safest, sir. You can use condoms during intercourse," she said. "We always have different contraceptive devices that we could use for Cassandra." "We cannot use any other than contraceptive devices then?" Miller asked. Dr. George smiled. "Miss Collins can still take some pills, but with caution, sir," she explained calmly because Miller sounds so intimidating right now. Miller sighed. "I'd rather she not take any," he said and then looked at me. His eyes are so serious as he stared into my eyes. "It's okay. We'll just use different natural methods, baby," he told me. My jaw dropped at his words and he had the audacity to say it in front of someone else. Damn it. Dr. George smiled. "I believe that's also one of the best choices for your fiancé," she said. Miller nodded and then stood up. "If that's the case, then thank you, Dr. George." He reached for my hand and we left the doctor's office. What the hell just happened?